Ezekiel 25:17. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
Only a Carpathian would come back to life now and choose New York. Tasty pick. Bonehead.
We were every bit the force. We live, we breathe, we sweat, we paid the price to be the best. Never been about the boys in the office. The boys that have gone out there night in and night out, doing everything they could to be the very best at what they chose to do in their life. Those boys are here tonight.
Well, I must have been away too long because my feelings are dead. I feel no remorse.
I only am who I am because I was born that way. I have a gift, and I am trying to not be selfish about it, but to use it.
My job consists of basically masking my contempt for the assholes in charge. And at least once a day retiring to the men's room so I can jerk off while I fantasize about a life that doesn't so closely resemble hell.
It's my house, and if you don't like it, get the fuck out.
Grab a dog. I choke him, and I kick the shit out of him. And I all day long, I put up a dog's ass. Just bang, bang, bang up his ass. That's my pleasure.
Go back to bed, America. Your government has figured out how it all transpired. Go back to bed, America. Your government is in control again. Here you go, America. You are free to do as we tell you. You are free to do as we tell you. You are free to do as we tell you.
Sometimes shit happens. Someone has to deal with it. And who are you going to call?
Oh, you guys like to tell jokes and giggle and kid around, huh? Giggling like a bunch of young broads with a school gun. Well, let me tell a joke.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Red and white, blue suede shoes. I'm Uncle Sam. How do you do? Give me five. Still alive.
oh my. Oh, 40. St. Jerry. Yeah, summertime. All right, I'm Ron and Fez show. I'm on this Fezzy.
Hiya, buddies.
Earl, our musical director and also minority spokesman. Nice to see you today, Earl.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
And it's Friday, and a big Friday show in front of us, Fez.
Looking forward to it.
We rename, we'll actually go through all the entries and rename the interns today, or actually name them for the first time ever, and then hopefully, if there's one left over, we can give that name to Eastside Dave. Hey, Charlie. Charlie, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, I didn't know Earl had it in him, man. That was rocking. Long live Jerry.
Long live Jerry. That is the truth. Here's Steve. Steve, you're on Ron and Fez. How are you, buddy? Steve, go ahead, pal.
Hey, Ron and Fez. How's it going, guys?
Yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to compliment Earl on his music selection, and I think we need to do a little Funk Fridays, man. Get us in the groove for the weekend.
Well, you know, we normally do, but today we went the other day. We went with the other way. We went with the Dead. Hey, Joe, you're on Ron and Fez.
Earl, I didn't know you did it. I knew it, man. But way to start off a good Friday show with a little Grateful Dead.
There you
Have
go.
a great show, guys.
Thank you very much. Now, you know, they always teach us in radio, Earl, hey, the Dead is not as popular as the callers tell you they are, because the Dead callers will call you more and more.
That was the biggest load of crap I've ever heard in my life.
Every program director would go, hey, only the fucking weirdos call radio stations. Do not throw the Dead on every time they bring it up to you. Chris, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, thank you guys for playing that. That was great.
All right, there you go.
I didn't think Earl had it in him.
See, Earl, people are starting to be impressed with you now.
I appreciate it. I mean,
you can't believe them, Earl. Only weirdos call radio stations.
Haven't you learned anything yet?
Mark, you're on Ron and Fez. How are you, Mark?
Hey, I want to give big props for the Jerry kickoff and remind everyone to go see Bob Weir tonight.
All right, there, see? Now all of a sudden we're one of those fucking shows, one of those obscure shows that everybody's, you know, passing around. This is on a bootleg tape somewhere that deadheads are giving each other. Kelly, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good.
I just want to thank you guys. So I'm driving from Virginia to Texas this week. I'm moving to Texas, and I want to thank you guys for making my drive worthwhile and keep me smiling.
Wait, hold on. Someone is moving to Texas?
Yes, my job's transferring me.
I mean, the only way I would move to Texas is if I lived in Mexico. Then I would go, yeah, that looks better. But I can't imagine being in another state.
What's your job? Tumbleweed creator?
Exactly, yes, that's what I do.
Well, enjoy. Enjoy the Lone Star State.
What do you do there,
Thank
Kelly?
you. I'm a project manager for a telecom company.
You see, I can never understand people's jobs anymore. You know, when my father's generation, everybody could understand everybody else's job. And our generation, there's coordinators and marketing, blah, and all the jobs are fake.
And a lot of analysis going on and projects.
Just a lot of people's in cubicles with fake jobs.
When I was growing up, it was just like, oh, what do you do? Hey, I haul garbage. It was just very simple and really to the point. It was just like, I haul garbage, I'm a bartender.
If you walked up and down my street, I could show you physical products that everybody on my street where I grew up made. People would work for Boeing, they would work for a steel plant, they would work for Scott Paper. Everybody made physical things. I don't have one friend who is in charge of a physical thing, a product.
There's some friends I can't even describe their jobs. I know one guy, I think he does something with, they'll just say software. They'll throw software out there, and that's supposed to be all-encompassing.
866-RON-0-FEZ, 866-RON-0-FEZ. Fez, world at war, flames at war, it says on all the papers. You predicted yesterday, World War III has begun, but Earl's pulling the other way, but it looks crazy as you turn it on. The UN wanted to tell Israel to slow it down, sit down and talk. The United States of America vetoed that and saying, go ahead, little pit bull, Keep on biting.
Yeah, so that throws out that whole resolution. You get one USA veto in there, and
Right.
nothing gets through the UN.
Well, the big guys are all allowed to veto, right? Us and Russia and what? England and China or somebody?
Yeah, and I think France.
Yeah, a couple of the big ones.
The Security Council. And now more countries getting involved with Iran and Syria. And more trouble here. Anthony Bourdain, chef and author, is caught in the middle of this now. Now it's gone too far. He went to Beirut to do one of his no reservations shows and is now stuck in Beirut since the airport has been bombed twice now.
Well, Anthony Bourdain, chef, writer, Ron and Fez buddy, was just in here, what was it, 2 weeks ago, Earl?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, he tells us, I'm leaving to go to the Mideast, kind of excited about it. Next thing we know, he's over there, a shitstorm pops up, and he's stuck looking for recipes in the middle of this.
Yeah, so they fixed part of the Beirut International Airport. They fixed a runway that got bombed yesterday. The Israelis came in, took it all out again a second time. So he is absolutely stuck there.
They don't want anybody flying.
They don't want anyone being able to get those hostages, those kidnapped soldiers out of there, and they don't want Syria or Iran being able to bring in any supplies to Lebanon, to help the Hezbollah.
Ever?
I think ever. Yeah, I think it's always going to be like that now.
Hey, Jeff, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, guys, I think before we let the President and the Security Council get involved, why don't we send good old Earl over as the diplomatic man? Maybe with Jimmy Carter, I don't know.
You know, Jesse Jackson used to serve this role. He's gotten a little long in the tooth. Earl, would you be willing to go over and be that cool black guy who tries to chill everybody out?
Yeah, I could be the envoy, the peace delegate, and just kind of work this thing out.
At least get this Anthony Bourdain out of there.
Yeah, we got to negotiate to get Anthony home. He's one of our buddies.
Anthony may be the finest American we have. He's the only American who's really, he's dedicated his life to traveling and drinking and eating and making fun of others. To me, he's the perfect American.
Well, he said that he's not going to try to get a story out of the hostilities and the bombings that are going on over there. He's going to sit at the bar and have a drink until he's able to go.
He's running around going, even though I have a camera, I'm not the news. Don't come here telling me your problems. Maybe bring your grandmother's recipe or some kind of liquor you made yourself.
And he will definitely sit there and enjoy that.
I hadn't heard this story, Fez. Where did you get it from?
This was in page 6 of the New York Post.
Well, then it must be true, Fezzy, because flames of war.
You see it right there, man. It's all happening. And Iran has told Israel they will attack Israel if Israel attacks Syria. Everyone getting involved in it.
Fez, do me a favor. We discussed this yesterday. Can we please call Israel Israel?
Israel.
That's what I want the show to call that place.
The glory of your people, Israel.
Yes. What was that song we sang as kids?
Was that part of We Three Kings of Orient?
I don't know, but I remember we always had to have a big Israel.
Right.
In the middle of it.
And the glory of your people, Israel. That's the line.
I am so weirded out from yesterday, because Fez started, we, of course, blew up the phones, but brought up a bit, and you started singing the song from when we were little kids, and it's kind of the American version of Frere Jacques.
Right. Where is Thumpkin? Where is Thumpkin?
Which, by the way, there's 3 versions of that. Because remember, there's some other song with Brother John. Are You Sleeping, Brother John?
Oh, right, yeah.
Same song.
Yeah.
And they make you sing all these when you're little. And I go, wait a minute, when you're singing Where is Thumpkin, in my school, the way I remembered it is Where is Tom Thumb? Now, Earl, you said you remember Where is Tom Thumb.
I remember Where is Tom Thumb.
Dave told us, I remember Where is Tom Thumb.
Tom Thumb. Thumpkin's disgusting.
Now... So I'm like, well, it must have been Fez's weird school. No, I'm hearing from other people, Thumpkin was big out there. Even my own chick, Fezzy, as long as we've been together, did not know we sang that song differently.
I had never heard the Tom Thumb part.
Well, you've heard the term Tom Thumb in your life, right?
Yeah, and I've heard of the Tom Thumb story.
Right, and Tom Thumb Blues by Bob Dylan. But have you ever heard Thumpkin? Anywhere else? Thumpkin is nothing. It doesn't even make sense to me. So the fact of the matter is I thought, well, Fez had some obscure thing. No, because the fact that Earl's in New York, I've talked to other New Yorkers who sang differently. And then I've talked to other people in Jersey, like Davis, who sang the song differently.
So this isn't even going regionally now.
Doesn't even seem like a regional thing, but I'm like, you know, what if, Fezzy, you just heard somebody here in Twinkle Twinkle Little Car? Wouldn't you go, what the fuck? And then finding out other people sang that. You know, when you're little, you believe the fact that whatever the adults give you is the way of the world.
To me, this is right up there with finding out the world's not flat for people, that it's round.
So, Thumpkin, Tom Thumb, now that made me think, is Earl and Dave lying to me to do that, oh, let me go along with Ron bit?
Oh, now that could be the pattern in this.
Because I'm hearing more Thumpkins than I'm hearing Tom Thumbs, but because we took 3 out of 4, 75%, I figured that the country had to go that way. Earl, do you want to tell the truth?
No, I remember I remember a little picture book I had when I was like 4 or 5, and you would just open it up and it would sing, "Where is Tom Thumb? Where is Tom Thumb?" And you see little Tom Thumb, and
I'm just curious, in this picture book, white thumb or black thumb?
They were white.
Was that weird for you as a little kid?
You know, I wasn't even conscious of it until like my older sisters would bring us. Like, why could they ever have a black character in it?
I mean, that would have to get to you. Because imagine that if you're just like every TV show you saw was black kids. After a while, you'd go, "What's going on?"
Oh, look, Superman's black, Batman's black.
Well, Batman is really, or acts it. Patrick, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Yeah.
Buddies, hey, just want to say Tom Thumb had a little one, just so everybody knows.
Thank you very much. Here is Harry. Harry, you're on Ron and Fez.
What's up, boys?
Hey, buddy.
Hi, Fezzy. Hey, when I was a kid growing up, we sang at Thumpkin also.
So, where did you grow up at, Harry?
Buffalo, New York.
See, it's very, very strange, Fez. Very strange.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to where it was done.
There has to be, though. There has to be a rhyme and a reason. All right, here's our buddy J-Dubs. He grew up in the Motor City and now is down in Florida. What's happening, Dubs?
Hey, what's up, man? The big Israel thing was in the song Noel.
Noel? They say sing Israel?
The first Noel?
Yeah, you're born as the king of Israel.
Yeah, very good call. Very good call, buddy.
Nice work, J-Dubs.
Hey, J-Dubs, which side of this holy war are you on? You with the Jews or the Arabs?
I'm actually on the side of the... I just want it to get over with. I think it's been so tense for so long. I'm relieved, actually, that World War III started.
You're ready for it all just to happen.
I'm ready for it, just to see what happens afterwards.
All right, man. Talk to you later, bro.
Later.
See it. Here is Liz. Liz, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
I'm in Connecticut. I have 2 kids. One's 2 and one's 5. They both sing Thumpkin, and they also have videos that sing Thumpkin, and they have tapes that say Thumpkin.
Well, I mean, it's a really bizarre thing.
I've never heard Tom Thumb before.
Yeah, it's a really bizarre thing because of the fact that, there's no official deal. First of all, it's kind of an old wives thing ripped off from a French song, so there's not even a way to go back and say what is the correct part of this. It's a rip-off song.
There's no singer-songwriter to check with that did this thing.
There's not going to be a copyright on it. So, and when my chick said it to me, I go, that's the craziest thing ever. And then I said, what did we teach our kids? And she goes, we're going to teach our kids that stupid song. It was awful.
They know where their thumbs are.
And now I go, yeah, that's right. We were listening to U.S. Blues by the Dead as they were little. Listen, kids! When you do that, you're going to love this. This is called Nirvana. Here's DJ. You're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, buddies.
Hey, buddy.
I grew up in Indiana, and I'm 32 years old, and I grew up with Thumpkin. I never heard of Tom Thumb.
It's very, very bizarre to me. I'm willing, normally I'll fight tooth and nail on something, but when I lost my chick on this, Fez, I'm like, Fez must be right. I couldn't believe it. And now I honestly believe Dave and Earl are lying.
The one thing is, where is Tom Thumb? That makes sense. You're asking, where is that little man? But where is Thumpkin? What is that?
Thumpkin is a name that you would give it. You said Thumpkin, then the next one was Pointer.
Oh, yeah. Where is Pointer? Where is Pointer?
What was the middle finger?
I don't remember.
And then the ring, like ringy or something, and a pinky.
Yeah. Ringer?
The middle one we would always say, where's fuck you?
I don't think we did that one.
Very, very bizarre, though. Very bizarre. I feel completely cut off from the world now. I feel like I was raised by wolves. Like I am Mork from Ork. I don't understand your ways.
This has got to be as strange as when Earl found out not everyone sang Catch a Tiger by the Toe.
We never sang Tiger.
And Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo.
No, Earl. We sang it the way that would make you cry.
I'm crying now. Just thinking.
I didn't know the difference.
I know that. Kids don't know any better.
I used to call that little nut an Ento. The little Tar Babies candy.
Oh, yeah.
That was N Baby in my neighborhood. Even, Earl, and this will gross you out, when we would get it from the store, from the little corner store in the neighborhood.
Oh, God.
It's an awful world. What can I tell you?
It's awful.
Yeah.
I never.
You can't blame a child. Of course you're not going to hear it. I'm sure you had some kind of honky babies, didn't you? Or
no, we never. There has never been a word for white people that really cuts like the N-word.
You know those little peanuts, Fez? Those orange peanuts? You know the ones I'm talking about?
Sure, yeah.
What are they called?
Circus peanuts.
Circus peanuts? Why didn't your neighborhood you call those white guy dicks? And say, give me a bag of white guy dicks.
You had every opportunity. See, the problem is now, Earl, you're grown up. You can't get away with it. You have to have the innocence of a child.
Teach your kids that. No, Fez, we didn't invent this as children. Some adult had to say that to us.
Right, but the kid is the only way that you get away with saying it now.
Did you hear anyone just saying, like, hey, give Bobby a bag of Entos?
I still can't play.
Grandparents would call it Entos, if you want to know the truth.
I still can't play Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo without saying the N-word.
You know what? I heard that in school with Tiger, and my head popped up. But I had black kids in my class, so I'm like, yeah, Tiger. I guess so. I guess that's it. Dave, did you come up with in a neighborhood that was racist, obsessed with racism?
Yeah, I mean, it was, kind of white, Irish Catholic. We're not horrible, but just in a sort of benevolent way. Like, they're kind of, not as bright as us and stuff like that,
Mine, it was not even a debate, Earl. I got to tell you the truth. Wasn't even a debate. Wasn't even till, I got into my teens that I thought to myself, hey, is this way of thinking wrong? Is there a, I didn't mean it in any kind of aggressive way, but it took until I started to have my own thoughts before I went, I'll tell you what really does it, and it could really bring the races together. For me, it was the buying and sales of marijuana. When you have that chance for the cultures to purchase and sell to each other, commerce is in, and then you'll say like this, hey, what's that you're listening to? P-Funk, huh? That's great.
You just brought back this weird flashback that how we got introduced to so many different types of music that you would have never heard. You learned from the potheads.
Always.
Dead. I learned from our high school potheads. It's like, you gotta listen to some Dead, man. And I was like, hey, this is pretty cool.
Hey, Chris, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, I'm pretty sure that Thumbkin, my daughter does that at daycare, but that Tom Thumb, I'm pretty sure that's a book.
Right. That's why I think Tom Thumb is the correct answer. I really do.
For the book.
Yeah, but you really, for the book, but I remember it in the song. And again, I don't remember if I sang that song at school, at home. They force so many bad songs on you as a kid. There's so many of those.
Yeah, I had one of those fold-out books where you can kind of read along to it or sing along to it, and it's like, they tell you where to sing, and it was
right.
Where is Tom Thumb?
So you swear to this, right?
It's like this, one of my first memories ever. I mean, might have been 4 or 5.
I think I remember seeing it on Captain Kangaroo or Romper Room or something like that.
I can't imagine that bad song would make it to the air. All those songs that they taught us as kids are so awful.
Captain Kangaroo.
The way I remember.
How old are you?
The way I remember it is the thumb's smart
You
ass.
must be a million.
I am not.
The kangaroo went off the air like the late 50s.
50.
He did not go
55?
off the air in the late 50s.
55?
And they had faces painted on the thumbs to be Thumpkin.
Wow, you didn't even have toys in those days. You're so old.
Play with our thumbs.
Fez, you would sing it, Where's Thumpkin, and then up my ass, up my ass. And then what would you do? Would you go out and play with the other Pilgrim kids?
I am not that old.
I'm just going by what Dave said.
It's just Captain Kangaroo.
You bring up a name like that.
Boy, I thought
he wasn't
Sesame
that long
Street or
ago.
something. Well, wait a second.
And then remember, you used to go out and wave as Teddy Roosevelt went by on his way to Washington.
Never.
Pitsy, I'm not going to put any racist fucking terms on the air. I'm not going to do it. I don't care what any of them say. I'm not here to hurt Earl's feelings. Some things that were said as children, we said as children. But then you move on, you become an adult, and you have the kind of relationship where Earl and I have today. Equal. Well, one's a little above the other.
It's all fun.
Almost equal.
Almost equal.
We used to say sometimes words back then that we didn't have any understanding of what, like, how bad they were. I mean, I don't want to really say it, but, you know, like, say, for instance, a baby dipped in tar, I always thought was kind of like a fun little name, you know, to call someone that, oh, look, there's, like, a little tar baby is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I didn't think it was that bad. I thought that's a fun little phrase.
Absolutely. You never know. And you take everything either with a grain of salt or, like, do you remember, like, first time you heard fuck?
Yeah.
You weren't shocked by it. It wasn't until later your parents told you to be shocked by it.
The only time you're shocked by it is when you say it and you see everyone else get shocked by it. And that's when
Right,
you realize
and then
the
all
power
of a sudden
the
they
word.
blow up and you
Yeah.
find out that's not the place for it. But the weird thing for me, I remember very well hearing the trash guys say it to each other, right? Now, it was at a time where they were talking about striking. So I was there to get the trash can back. And one of the trash men was saying, these motherfuckers are fucking us over. He goes, I can't even fucking eat. I gotta feed my fucking family. And I was honestly taken as these people are starving. We live in a society where the gentlemen who come to our home to help keep it clean by taking the garbage back and forth cannot eat. I was ready to fucking cry about it.
Jesus.
And then I went home and I told my dad, I go, do you know that our garbage man doesn't even have the money to eat? We should give him more money. He goes like this. How fat he is. Shut up. Believe me, he's eating.
And you started saying the F word after you heard that
No,
from him?
I said it with my friends. I lived a double life from a very, very young age. Maybe 4 or 5. You acted one way on the corner and another way when you got home.
4 years old, you were cursing?
Yeah, immediately. Immediately I was cursing long before I could even understand what the terminology was. It was, as we used to say, playing the dozens, just constant ball busting.
I used to always hate when friends would come over to my house because then you would have to be the home person all the time, and then they're just looking. He's like, "Why are you acting this way?"
I would go out of my way not to let one of my mutt friends ever in my house. To this day, I don't want anybody to meet my parents. It's none of their fucking business.
The first time I heard the F word, I was over at my grandmother's house, and I heard it from some kids out behind the house, and I immediately went inside and started using it to her.
You didn't have the filter?
Didn't have the filter, didn't have a clue of what it meant.
Yeah.
Started calling my sister motherfucker in front of my grandmother. All I knew is, to me, it was dummy or stupid.
It's so funny how quick you start ripping off material. Because to this day, I'm going, wait a minute, where did he hear that? You'll have an opinion that you just got that quickly. You heard something and started using it. Here is Tom. Tom, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, I grew up in a racist neighborhood. Y'all talking about it. Grew up in Arizona, and we always used to fight. We didn't have black people to fight with. We always used to fight with Navajos, and they would call us the Keith Billiganum, which in Navajo meant stupid white boy, and we would call them trogs, which was, you know, for trust relying on government services. But God, we used to fight all the time.
Tom, thanks so much for calling us from the Old West. We really appreciate it. 866-RON-0-FEZ. 866-RON-0-FEZ. I get a call from the kid from the Rifleman during the show, and I'm trying to figure it out, Fezzy.
Paul?
Hi, you're on Ron and Fez. Hi, you're on the air.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Hey, I grew up in a prejudiced neighborhood too, and I didn't get to have any black friends. I finally actually got to have one when I was just about in high school, and he was over at my house. I went to go take a piss, and he followed me in the bathroom and turned me around to see what it looked like. And after that, I've been prejudiced.
Yeah, well, now we're talking about having black friends, not gay friends. But thank you very much. Boys are curious.
I wasn't even you're never even aware of racism. I was second generation busing student, so I got bused into a predominantly white Jewish neighborhood.
Right.
And you're not aware of it until you see the parents I wouldn't play with him if I were you.
They actually said that?
Sometimes they said it right to your face. Hey, you want to play ball or anything? So I don't know if it's a good idea if you should play with him or not. And I was and you're just looking at him just completely befuddled. It's hey, I just want to play ball.
I never got that gimmick from my parents, but I lived in an all-white neighborhood separated by a highway on one side and then railroad tracks, literally across the tracks from the black neighborhood, right? So then we would all go to school together. Both neighborhoods would go to the same school. And first grade, right away, my best buddy, a black kid, but I'd never told my parents that, and I would tell stories what you doing in school, and I'd be yeah, well, me, Anthony, and some kid, and I never would say his name. His name was Stevie. I would never say his name. I'd say, some kid said the funniest thing today. And then, finally, when my parents had the PTA meeting, right? And the teacher actually said to him and this black kid are just fucking, twins. They're fucking running around doing everything together. And my parents were cracking up, just fucking rolling, that I did not have the balls. And they're going, what's his name? And then after that, they noticed I would never say his name at home. And they never would bring it up. But they would always go, what's that kid's name? And I go, I don't even remember. It's just some kid. He's fucking funny, though. He's crazy. I got to tell you. But isn't that weird? You would have it in your mind that this is different. My parents are old school. I better not share.
I remember in my all-white neighborhood growing up, the busing thing had all the parents going nuts, and I had no idea what busing even meant then. But they were taking the attitude of it's just awful to keep kids on the bus that long, even though now I realize some of the things they were saying weren't in regard to the welfare of the kids. It was, having, black kids come into the white school, which was right next to our neighborhood.
Well, sure. Back in the 40s, you'd listen to the radio with your family, and then you would head on into school.
It was not the 40s.
Here is Todd. Todd, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good, buddy.
Good. When I was 10, my mom's Jamaican and my dad's Italian.
Now, was that a situation where your dad wouldn't let you play with your mom? Didn't feel like you should be... Yeah.
He told me to stay away from her.
Yeah.
But obviously not knowing any kind of racism or anything, I went to a pretty white school, and I'm darker myself. And when I heard the N-word for the first time, I had no idea what it meant. And the kids at school were saying that's what my mom was. And when I went home, I said, Mom, you're an N. And my brother, he's 6 years older than me. He was 16 at the time. He beat the living crap out of me right in front of my mom.
Wait a minute. You were 10 before you heard this word?
Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
I'm in Toronto.
Yeah, sure.
There's and not being, making it sound like it's great up here, but there's not a lot of racism, right? Because it's very multicultural.
Mm-hmm. Well, racism thank you very much for calling. I think every generation has gotten, somewhat better. We all still have prejudice to this day. Everybody has some kind of prejudice, but it's not nearly, I think the whole separate but equal thing is finally considered history.
You don't think of Canada, though, that having a lot of black people. How did they get black people in their country?
What do you mean, how did they get
did they do slaves? I never heard of Canada doing slaves.
No, they didn't do slaves.
So how did the blacks, why would the blacks choose? It's very hot, very cold up there.
Mm.
I'm truly wondering.
There's a lot of Asian people up there. They all got there the same way.
Toronto's one of the most racially mixed cities in the world, if not in North
And it also, by the way, has the same yearly temperature as New York City, Toronto.
Toronto does.
Look it up. Fucking read for a change. Yeah.
I find that hard to believe.
It's not that shocking.
And we have things like heaters now, and coats and everything. So temperature isn't really killing off any sort of...
Black people aren't living in huts up there, if that's
You
what
have to go outside to work, though. You have to go outside.
What are you saying? Black people, it's impossible for them to go outside in the winter?
No, but they put on more layers than any human being I've ever seen.
All right. Jeez, we're just sitting here acting like we got over racism. Hey, Solara, you're on Ron and Fez. How are you, honey?
Hey, guys, how are you?
Good.
I'm calling because when I was babysitting my nephew and I had my two with me one day, and my nephew, my older son, just come flying into the room, beating on each other, screaming. My nephew saying, oh, he called me a bad word, and the big one's denying it. And all of a sudden, the little one comes and he goes, no, Mommy, he didn't call him a bad word. He just called him an asshole. And it sounded really cute because he has a lisp and he can barely speak.
Kids are adorable.
He listened to way too much O&A, so he thought the bad word was a-hole.
A-hole would be the bad word.
Yes.
All right, honey.
I got to see you later.
All right, bye-bye. Ah, she's adorable. All right, 866-RON-0-FEZ, 866-RON-0-FEZ. Here is John. John, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, hey, I wanted to tell you guys about a book I had when I was a kid. It was called Briar Rabbit and the Tar Baby.
Mm-hmm.
It was just this little...
That actually got made into a Disney cartoon. The Song of the South is all about that, yeah. And I don't think they even run that anymore, right?
No, they don't run it anymore, and that you can't get it on DVD or video.
Now, was Sambo part of that, Fez? That is a different story.
I think that was a different story. Uncle Remus was part of Song of the South.
Uncle Remus was like the old black guy who wants to tell the children all kinds of stories about the South. Have you ever seen this, Earl?
It was hard the book is hard to find now. They don't really, there isn't no 100th edition of Uncle Remus.
And Earl's looking.
Yeah.
but I remember seeing stuff in cartoons used to be awful. I remember the cartoon, and when you would talk like this.
It was a Disney cartoon. I mean, it was a major thing, like Pinocchio. It was a really, really big hit and a big release in this country.
And that Zippity Doodah song, that was huge from it.
Yeah.
I remember watching it, and now I think about it, and I was like, that was just so racially insensitive. And this is a Disney movie, which, always...
I don't know if you can find it even as a DVD now, can you?
I don't think so. No, I don't think there's any copy of that for sale.
Well, that must have been at one time, though. I mean, it must have got out at some point, and then finally they went, Because I know they were rerunning it. I mean, that thing was probably shot in the 40s or 50s, but you could still see it in the 70s.
I went and saw it in the theater in the 70s. I remember that.
Because that was on your 30th birthday.
It's not.
I remember when they had that Disney show, I think it was like on ABC, they would show it. It was like a yearly event where they would show it.
Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day.
It's like fun.
I don't work and I like to gamble. Kids, excuse me while I smoke some crack. But, it's very... the thing is, Earl, it's only racist if white people do that about black people. The thing that you turned me on to, that... and I'm trying to think of the name of it. I don't remember the title.
The Boondocks?
Boondocks, yeah. It's black, kind of like black on black. I don't know if you can be racist, but he's a black guy writing stuff and doing jokes that if me and Fez did it, it would be considered incredibly racist.
Yeah, it's sort of like this, it's self-digging, if anything. You're taking these digs at black culture as a whole. And
so you're okay with that?
I'm not sure about that. Sometimes I have a
Did you watch this at all, Earl?
I read the comic strip every day, and and part of me is like, okay, that's really funny. And then it's like, and then there's other times like, did he really have to say that?
Get the DVD on the Boondocks, the one that's going around. I fucking roll. I was crying. I was laughing so hard. And one of the things is that blacks can no longer shock and hurt white people because we just go, oh, yeah, good. Yeah. They're like, you're all going to burn in hell. Yeah, okay. Great.
There's plenty of copies of Song of the South on eBay. But I noticed this. A lot of them are on Laserdisc. So that kind of shows how far back it's been since any sort of copy of this has been made.
So like 20 years or so, right? 20,
Yeah.
25 years. Somebody to send us a copy of that. Here is Jack. Jack, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, just wanted to bring to your attention Eastside Dave's lowered intelligence again. Obviously never learned about anything called the Underground Railroad when it came to how the blacks got up into Canada.
Pennsylvania.
Where did they finally stop, though? They went all the way to Canada with it.
That wasn't in my history book.
What did you learn?
American History 1 for 4th grade.
Where did they go?
They went to Quaker States in Pennsylvania.
Quaker States.
They came from
They
the
needed
South.
lube jobs?
They came from Alabama and other places.
And then later on, a lot of blacks, they migrated there. Some to avoid the war in Vietnam. Some to... There was a great music
Avoid
scene.
work.
In any city.
Toronto for like...
Some of them like to go out there just to fuck white women. There was plenty for them there.
It's also one of the great rock and roll cities. It's like one of the last great rock and roll cities. It has been for 50 years.
Well, I think Russia's shit all over that. All right, there's the First Lady in a brown pantsuit today. She's just sensible pantsuit.
All right, the pantsuits have to stop. She's just put on so much weight.
The First Lady's ass flat and fat at the same time. I don't know how she pulls it off. Much like her husband's head, flat and fat.
She's going to have to start going with some sort of wraparound skirt deal because she is so bottom-heavy now.
What about a muumuu? Just throw a big muumuu over her.
The problem with muumuus is they're usually in such bright colors, it really draws attention to the fact that you're wearing a muumuu.
Koshi, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy
How
boy.
you doing?
Good.
Sorry I asked that question. Anyways, I was a half-black Negro growing up in L.A., and my mom tried to teach me about black people, but she always referred to them as gangsters or gangbangers. But
now, you be careful playing with the other gangbangers.
Yeah. But
all right, you're half black growing up in L.A. You should have been the guitarist for Guns N' Roses. You missed your calling, my friend.
But if I was Earl, I got to tell you, I want to let Ron talk to me like that. I probably get in your face of trying to get Earl to have some balls, try to be a black-hating self-man.
Yeah, stop being a black-hating self-man, Earl.
I don't hate black people. I just...
A little bit.
No,
you just don't understand
a little bit.
bit. It's not that you hate black people. You just love white people so much.
It's true.
Thank God for the white man.
I mean, I've never seen a black guy who likes Elvis Costello and just...
What should he do, limit himself?
No, but have some more. I mean, there was this song when we were at the Blue Room, and it was, very rapish and everything, and I asked Earl who was it. He had no idea.
That's not true.
I had to find...
It was ludicrous.
He found out from his brother on his cell phone it was ludicrous.
Maybe it's more of a generational thing, though, than it is a black thing.
Earl's brother's
not
older
exactly listening to the latest hip-hop songs every day.
Well, he should be, is my point.
Why?
Stay in touch with your community. I listen to the punk rock.
Do you listen to every white pop song going on out there?
Well, I mean...
You can name white hit songs?
No, I can't name white hit songs.
And that's what you asked him to do.
This was a big, ludicrous song, Mr. B.
You just said you couldn't name number one songs by white people.
Oh, I could name a number one song by a white man. Yeah, I certainly could.
Any number one song in history by a white man?
In history would...
Let's say the last 10 years.
Sure.
All right, get me a list, Earl. If not, I'm taking off the other eyebrow.
Oh, no.
Because I know it's bullshit. And you fucking take us off goddamn track all the time.
Just trying to make Earl do extra work.
And the other thing is, I always hate when people say, it's like, well, you're a black guy, you're into... I'm like equating black to, having a very limited capacity of what you know. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you know Elvis? It's like, it's weird that you know Elvis Costello. It's like, why not? He's on the radio.
Earl loves music. And Earl knows more about music than anybody else I've ever met in my life.
It's like, why limit yourself to, I know classical music. I know country music. I know, it's like, why being a black person means you have to have a limited, scope of what you know and what you don't want.
Earl, you would be good to go on that TV show. Have you seen that new trivia TV show, Fez?
Oh, the one on VH1, yeah.
What's the name of that?
It's the World Series of Pulp Culture.
World Series of Pulp Culture.
Pop Culture, sorry.
Yeah. Earl, you ought to be on that. You could be our music guy.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd be honored.
I would be our movies guy, and Dave, you could watch the car, make sure nobody breaks into it.
All right.
That's what I totally do when I watch this show. I think of the categories that come up, and if it's me, Earl, and Ronnie sitting there on the bench as the team, who would we send up? Because you pick from your team who's going to handle that particular category. Like yesterday, one of the categories last night when I was watching it was TV pets.
Yeah.
And I'm like, send Fez for that one.
You are like Bo Jackson. You talk about yourself in the third person.
Yeah, and then there was
Fez doesn't like that.
There was one that was like female leads in movies, and I'm like, Ronnie will know all the movie women. Go ahead and send Ronnie up there.
You know what I like about what's the World Series of
Pop Culture?
Okay, what I like about it is I don't like any game show that gives you the answer first. I like to be able to play it. I hate like the password is alphabet. And then I go, well, why am I watching? There's no point in me being part of this anymore.
That was what was always the thing that ruined $20,000 Pyramid. The fact that the word was right there as they're guessing back and forth. I would watch Pyramid with my eyes closed, listen to the clues, and try to guess the word.
See, but I would try and see the word, and then the fun thing about watching that show would be to give the clues. Like, how would I give the clues after seeing that word? So that would be a different thing.
So you saw yourself as a celebrity guest.
Yeah, I saw myself as, Bert Convy.
So you started to yell the clues
sure,
rather than guess them.
Yeah, the guy.
Very odd.
Yeah.
Very odd. I've never heard of anyone do that before. Earl, did you ever have a favorite game show? What was it?
I like Jeopardy. I like Match Game.
Match Game is still being played. The old classic ones from like Match Game 75, 76. What a clusterfuck of alcoholics and perverted sex fiends that is. You could never get that show on TV anymore.
That was one of my absolute favorites, was Match Game.
Millionaire was a great show, and I still enjoy watching it whenever I get the chance during the daytime. I miss Regis, though.
With Millionaire, I would always get frustrated because they would come up with a question that I just didn't have a clue. Even with the 4 clues there, wouldn't even have a guess for it. What I like about this pulp culture thing is these answers, even if you don't know them, they're all tip of your tongue answers. That answer is in your head somewhere. You just may not be able to spit it out at the right moment.
I don't know. I haven't watched it a lot. I caught some of it, though, and I saw when they were doing like gangster movies, and I'm like, oh, this is easy. But then the questions were pretty damn obscure, pretty damn tough. Like, what was the name of the casino in Casino?
The Capitol.
Nope, wrong. Tangiers. Tangiers. And I'm like, that's, you could watch that movie a lot unless you're like looking for trivia. That's not something that would stick in your head. Here's our buddy Indy Mike. Give us a Big Brother game show update. What's up, Mike?
Hey, morning, Ron.
Hey, pal.
Just figured I'd call in to talk about a little bit about what happened last night, since now we can spoil some of the stuff that wasn't talked about.
Yeah, you already knew that Allison was leaving.
Yeah, I kind of thought, I didn't know that Diane also voted for Danielle. I thought she got the word beforehand because what happened real quick is that Mike Boogie and Will were also supposed to vote out Danielle, but they realized right at the end there that it was going to be a tie vote at the worst, and Big Brother had already told them that if it was a tie, Janelle would break it since she'd won the power of veto. So Mike, as soon as he heard that, thought, oh, man, I don't want to be shown on the bad side and be against Danielle since she's staying. So he ran and told Will, and I thought they were going to let Diane and Nokomis know as well, but they didn't get the word. So Will
I don't see Mike Boogie as much of a player, do you?
He's, you know what? Will keeps saying in the house, I'm just here to help Mike get further. Mike's been pretty interesting. I don't know how far he's going to go. He certainly has some interesting stories, but I don't know how far he's going to go. I did learn a little tidbit, something that doesn't spoil anything. Also, he and Kiara from one of the other seasons apparently had a little thing at some point, and that's right from somebody's mouth in the house at one point the other night.
Yeah, I had heard that a couple years ago after she left. She was the one that used to bang Roddy.
Yeah, she was hot for Roddy. Yep.
Yeah, I think she's a New York girl too.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
All right, Kaser is running thing. Who do you think's going to go up this week?
You really want to know who? Because I've already heard him say, at least right now, who he's going to put up.
I would figure the 2 girls.
Yeah, that's who he's thinking
Nokomis
about.
and Diane.
That's who he's thinking about. Of course, it hasn't happened yet, and things could certainly change between now and whenever it happens. But yeah, he's looking at putting up Nokomis and Diane just to see. Hopefully, he wants them. He really wants to be careful and set up some kind of dissension between the other groups because he doesn't want them to come after him.
Nokomis got to feel good for 2 seconds last night when Julie Chen messed it up and she thought she was head of household.
Yeah, she screwed up big time.
Thanks a lot, Indy Mike. Go ahead and plug your website.
All right.
See you later.
ILoveBigBrother.com is Indy Mike's website.
Hey, Liz, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hi there.
Hey.
This is Liz from Michigan, and I wanted to say, does anyone else love Chicken George as much as I do?
Loathe him. Hate him.
Oh, my gosh.
Can't stand to look at him. I'm embarrassed by him.
Oh, my goodness. He's great. He is the funniest person on that show. I just sit there watching him laughing so bad.
To me, he's so
hilarious.
far from funny, and I cringe. First of all, I hate self-depreciating humor. It's just the whole self-deprecation. It means nothing to me. It's embarrassing.
He may be as worthless on that show as Nokomis.
I don't think so.
Worthless is Nokomis. She's one of the fucking best players in history.
Oh, no. Nokomis is...
Nokomis, yes. She was one of the players that she invented the backdoor program. She was supposed to go out the first week a couple years ago, made it to fourth, would have went further if Diane didn't stab her in the back. She's one of the best players, and that's why they're trying to get rid of her now. She's like one of the people that can come up with real strategies. Chicken George is a fucking idiot. Here's Wade. Wade, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Ron, how are you, buddy?
Good.
There's two new game shows coming out. One's with Shannon Doherty, and one's with Danny Bonaducci. Shannon Doherty's is a breakup show. Contestants can't break up with them. She goes in and slips the word to them.
Yeah, I don't consider that a real game show. Like Newlywed Game show, any kind of those speed dating games, that's a faked out reality show.
Yeah, there's no real competing there whatsoever.
And I generally don't like when a celebrity runs a game show. I like a real game show host. A guy who is a professional game show host.
Can I disagree with you on that for 1 second?
Give me one.
The greatest game show of all time, Family Feud. Wasn't Richard Dawson a celebrity before Family Feud?
As a what?
Hogan's
Game
Heroes?
show guy. He was really a game show guy. As far as Hogan's Heroes goes, he was never a star from that.
Oh, he's one of the best hosts and one of the funniest people in the history of the world. That was a great game show.
Family Feud?
We gotta get back to that.
It's on every day.
Well, that big Tool Time guy is just a
You're back on with Tool Time.
Without Borland hosting.
Who's the guy who's running this World Series of things? Because he's really good.
Oh, yeah, that's Michael Davies.
Michael Davies, and he also did Millionaire, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Earl, try to get a hold of Michael Davies, because Fez and I would love to host a game show.
I'm right on.
Try to book him on the show. A lot of the great people, like the Goodman, remember that they used to host a bunch of them?
Mark Todman, Bill Goodman Productions.
Mark Todman, Bill Goodman Productions. And then there was another big one. Can't think of the name of it offhand.
Yeah.
But all the game shows would come from...
Didn't Merv Griffin do?
Merv Griffin invented some of the really, really big ones still. He came up with turning Hangman into $1 billion show.
He came up with Jeopardy, too. Merv Griffin.
I thought he came up with Concentration. Was it Jeopardy, too?
He might come up with both, because both were hosted by Alex Trebek.
Yeah.
I think he did all three.
Yeah.
I think he did Concentration, Jeopardy, and Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, I was about to say Wheel of Fortune, but he made
which is just Hangman. I will not give him a lot of fucking credit for turning Hangman into that. Pitsy wants to add something. What, did Italy win again?
No, first of all, you forgot Price is Right, which is the greatest game show ever.
Price is Right, I gotta tell you the truth, it's not a guy's game show. You would play with your mom and feel embarrassed when you're a little kid, but at a certain age you're going, I'm not going to guess what Spick and Span costs. It's embarrassing.
The best is when they would have, like, very rarely celebrity prices right, and you would have celebrities trying to guess a carton of eggs, and they'd be like, $16.99 for a carton of eggs.
I don't know. I have a black woman who runs against that. No, but there's so many of these game shows. My favorite, probably all time, Let's Make a Deal.
Oh.
Because and then some of the guessing for prices, but also you could trade up. There was a lot of extra drama, and then the best thing at all is I'll give you $50 for every hat pin you have. $50.
Monty Hall.
Yeah, the great Monty Hall. I'll give you $100 for every key in your pocket.
Why were they always dressed in costumes? Like, I never understood why a game show need like a lady dressed as a tiger.
Well, because they were always trying to catch his eye. So in the early days, everybody would just come dressed regular.
Oh.
And then somebody put on like a funny hat. And he was like going to the person with the funny hat. So after that, they just would do anything to make him think that he looked. But they never talk about it.
I'm
they
the human
say,
train.
Yeah, they never say, "Hey, come dressed as something cool," and maybe you'll be able to get on. Hey, Bill, you're on Ron and Fez. Bill, go ahead, pal.
Hey, so how about Howie Mandel with Deal or No Deal?
Deal or No Deal, biggest game show out there today. There's not a lot of meat to it. It's not really a lot for you to think about at home. Basically, if you're playing a game, you can play as long as you have two really big numbers. If you're down to one big number, the smart thing to do is get out, or else you're really gambling.
It's a guessing game.
It gets old real quickly because there is no strategy. It's just suitcase 17, suitcase 14. Come on.
Well, the only strategy is to keep two large numbers.
I would go for it every single time.
No matter what happens.
No matter what happens, because it's so stupid that I would feel like if I walk out of this dumb show with $50, I'm happy.
It is stupid, but when you think to yourself, most people, what's the average wage? $38,000 a year or something like that?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And most winners on that show are leaving $75,000 to $95,000. I mean, you would have had to win 18 days in a row on, the old concentration to come up with some of the cash. You're leaving with big cash even if you're a loser.
Family Feud, if you win the final thing at the end, they still only give fucking $10,000.
Yeah.
If you get the final 200 points. To split with 5 people.
Yeah.
What the hell?
And that's pre-taxes, so, you're looking at... Now, I had a friend who went on the Monty Hall show when they redid it in the 80s. Remember that 80s, early 90s?
Mm-hmm.
So they were doing it out of Orlando. He went in dressed as a scarecrow. Him and his wife got on. Won a boat. And they go, here's the boat, but you're going to owe like $10,000 in taxes, or else we'll give you this amount of money. And he ended up taking the cash.
Yeah.
But not for the same cash as if he would have gotten the boat.
That's a total rip-off.
Yeah.
And that should be exposed the way those shows of the 50s were exposed in Robert Redford's great film quiz show.
Yeah. All right, easy.
Sorry.
Okay?
I'm very passionate about quiz
I know
game
you
shows.
With Let's Make a Deal, not only did you have to finally end up in costume to get Monty's attention, you also had to have a sign, too, where it's the last straw. I want to be on Let's Make a Deal. You had to do a poster and a costume to get on there.
Sean, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Ron Fez.
Hey, buddy.
Really like Baby Killing Fez.
Yeah, Baby Killing Fez is the best.
He's the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
What about Cash Cab? That shit rocks.
I love Cash Cab. We've talked about that many times on this show. I like Cash Cab. Number one, for the reasons Fez and Earl brought up earlier. The questions are easy enough to make you feel smart. Number two, you don't know you're going to be on a game show. You're just suddenly on a game show. Out of nowhere. And you better be ready to rock the fucking house.
And the guy's a good host. I mean, how you don't see Trebek driving through Manhattan?
No, Trebek can't parallel park.
And what a great incentive! Like you get it right, you win some cash. You get it wrong, you get dumped wherever you are.
You know what's funny though? I was in a cab last night, and I tried to get the driver just to ask me questions. I go, "You ever see that show Cash Cab?" And he goes, "No." And I go, "Well, the driver asked some guy questions." I told him the whole show, and he's like, "Oh." And I go, "You want to, just do it now, just to make time pass?" And he goes like this. No, I'm listening to music.
Has there ever been a cash cab where there's been really bad weather, like it's pouring rain out?
They will throw your ass out.
Or just snow, or it's like it's a foot of snow out, and you get the question wrong, and he just dump you out in the snow?
Here's Billy. Billy, you're on Ron and Fez.
Buddies,
yeah.
Do you know that Merv Griffin wrote the theme song to Jeopardy and has made over $135 million in royalties since it came out?
But since he owns his show, wouldn't he be getting the money just from himself? Ba 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. See, I probably could have wrote that song until it got to the bump way up. I never would have thought of that.
And now it's played in every NFL stadium where they're doing instant replay.
That's tacky.
Good stuff, Merv. Merv Griffin, just a genius.
I think my favorite of all time was Hollywood Squares. That was my favorite game show.
Here's where I had a problem with it. I like the early version where you had a bunch of stars on and like a funny person or two. I hate it when everybody got the jokes.
Oh, yeah.
I want the funny guy to be able to rip the big jokes. But when suddenly, Shields and Yarnell have hysterical humor, that bugs me.
Yeah, Dr. Joyce Brothers shouldn't have a side splitter.
Yeah, and they started doing that, and I'm like, fuck this. This is rigged. And I didn't just say rigged, Earl, and I'm going to...
White people are so scared of black.
I'm going to admit that now to you. What I used it because I was younger.
Now, what was the guy who, what's his name, George Gobel? I used to love George, because it was just so...
George Gobel was fantastic.
It was so droll and so dry and just so inside, and you had to really think about it for a second to really get the joke.
Do you ever remember the, years ago, Fez, the other old guy on Hollywood Squares?
Oh, with the suspenders.
Yeah.
And the hat. Charlie Weaver.
Charlie Weaver, I don't know whether you know this or not, is the grandfather of the Arquette family.
I had no idea.
Use that as some little trivia for you. That guy, his granddaughter, they wrote Rosanna about, the Toto, wrote about her.
You would be good at World Series of Pop Culture.
Well, thank you very much.
If you can do that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of balls to stand up to me. It takes a lot of balls.
Of just an observation.
You were mentioning before how, like, the stuff they would say on these shows. Match Game, half of them were in the bag and just really drunk.
Match Game was just fucking whack. Seriously. That was like a bad party that you didn't want to go to in the 70s.
Brett Summers, like, what was the deal with her? Did she...
Jack Klugman's wife.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Jeez, I'm learning everything. But did she and Charlie, Charles Nelson Riley
he
hate
was,
each other?
No, they were, it's kind of, Charles Nelson Riley and Brett Summers, I consider the Fez and Crazy Jen of their time, where they would say mean things to each other, but there was a lot of love there. A lot of love.
There was a lot of times where Charles Nelson Riley would just go away on that show. He wouldn't look directly in the camera and just hold up his answers, all disgusted. Like someone had said something. Charles, can you tone it down during a commercial break?
I have showed that show to my kids, like going, hey, this used to be on when I was a little kid, and they would go like this. People would smoke? I go, yes. People used to smoke on TV like nothing.
What did they have, like coffee cups and drinks on it? I mean, it was just so
but the coffee cups and drinks, everybody was doing lewds on that fucking show. And if you really want to win, just come out and yell tits, because that's every answer. Nick, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, guys, how are you?
Good.
Hey, Bert Convy, to me, was a great game show host.
Oh, yeah, the best.
What was that show he did where they had, like, the celebrity couples, and one couple, the females would go in another room and have the...
They would wear matching sweaters, Fez, and it was like at Mad Libs or something, but it wasn't Mad Libs.
Right, I know what you mean.
And you would play for your whole section.
Right.
Win, lose, or draw? Win, lose, or draw, right?
No, not win, lose, or draw.
No, they would ask a question. And it was kind of like Newlywed Game, except these were married celebrity couples like McLean Stevenson and his wife.
It was called something like Husbands and Wives or Husband and Lies or something like that.
And now, remember there used to be a couple on there. She was a good-looking blonde, great ass, and then he was like a cheesy kind of Broadway star. And then there's a steakhouse in town with his name, and we ought to try to get hold of Blowhard because he'll know exactly who I'm talking about. Because they kind of went and spin off and did other shows. It's like a Jones. Is there a Jones?
Oh man, I can picture it.
Do me a favor.
Joan Van Ark?
No, not the great Joan Van Ark. Believe me, I would know that in a heartbeat. Try to get a hold of Blowhard for me. It's very, very important now.
Bert Convy did another show too. It was kind of like Password or Super Password. I don't know.
Bert Convy did a lot of stuff, as well as was appearing at the Playboy Club in St. George. But that would get thrown out all the time.
He did do Win, Lose, or Draw, which was just a basically a board version of Pictionary.
Yeah, Win, Lose, or Draw, which was also produced, I believe, by Burt Reynolds. I might be wrong about that. Burt Reynolds said this is a game that they used to play in their living room all the time. And Bert Convy, for whatever reason, was part of that gang with Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, with Charles Nelson Riley, Dom DeLuise, that whole gang. Jerry Reed.
Mike, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, remember Press Your Luck, the guy that would, about the whammies, he figured out the patterns of the whammies, and he won a ridiculous amount of money, and everyone thought he was some sort of miracle worker.
They always say they're going to do the movie about this guy. He figured out whatever the pattern was for where the light would hit. If he watched enough, figured out. And Bill Murray was going to play that part. And at the time, he took him for $84,000, which they thought, was going to wreck the network or whatever. But I don't know what happened in that movie. They're always talking about doing it. Here is Blowhard. You're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, buddies.
Yeah.
Long time no hear. The couple you're looking at, Elaine Joyce and Bobby Van.
God bless you, Blowhard. Wow. God bless you.
Yeah, Bobby Van was an accomplished Broadway dancer. She was hot as shit.
She had an ass that would just knock me out as a child.
Yeah,
before I even knew what to do with it, I went, look at that hiney.
And always a little bob blonde haircut.
Yeah, and
I never looked that high.
Certain celebrity, it was like a group that would go from one show to another. It was like Joanne Flug. What the hell did she ever do?
That is true, that there are people who just would specialize. Like
Lula Lenska.
If we did Match Game today, who do you think would be on it? Because I got one.
John Wayne Bobbitt.
I think Mario would be on it all the time. Steam Pipe Alley Mario. What's his name?
Mario Catone.
Oh, he'd be perfect.
He would be on that show, and there's no doubt about it. You probably have the D-lister, Kathy Griffin, would be on it.
She'd be perfect for it. Just people that aren't really doing much of anything else.
And
Andy
reality
Dick.
Star people.
Andy Dick would be perfect. We ought to try to pitch this.
Modern Match Game.
Modern Match Game would be the perfect name.
Call it Modern Match Game.
I know and we'd always do... Pearl Jam was so stupid. We'll just try to let people know that it's not the 70s.
You know, it's a funny show that I forget all the time, but that comedy show, Can You Top This?
Oh, Can You Top This, Ren?
Stand-up comedians had to outdo each other.
Yeah, and that was a lot of people went on it for their first Gary Shandling's first TV thing and all.
Dick Gaudier.
Yeah, Dick Gaudier.
God,
that's great.
Just showed up on game shows and did nothing else.
Did the same Kirk Douglas impression every show.
Even though that was no longer hip, doing Frank Gorshin.
And then there was a musical show that lasted about a month. It was on CBS. It was called Musical Chairs. And it was all about Broadway singers, and it was this big black guy with an afro, and his name was Adam Wade. He was a Broadway singer, and they would just sing through the whole show.
I never remember this one.
It was called Musical Chairs. And
hey, guys.
It was on CBS. I was a game show.
Hey, Ronnie.
In the past.
Hold on.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
We were able to get a hold of Michael Davies, executive producer of the World Series of Pop Culture.
All right, I got to go to this, Blowhard.
All right, buddies. Have a great weekend.
World Series of Pop Culture, Fez, is your favorite game show now?
Yeah, it's on VH1. I know starting July 20th, starting next week, it's going to air on Thursdays. It's on at 10 o'clock on VH1. You can check out the schedule on VH1.com.
And Michael Davies has done a lot of shows?
Yeah, he's done Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Wife Swap is one of his shows, and I believe he's in production a new game show featuring Ken Jennings, that Jeopardy champion.
Oh, yeah, who's terrific. All right, so the brand new show.
It is the World Series of Pulp Culture that airs on VH1.
Michael Davies, welcome to Ron and Fez. How are you, sir?
How you doing, guys?
We were just talking about your new show. Now, did you bring this from anywhere else, or is this brand new?
For a change, I haven't imported this from any other culture or any other period in time. This is a brand new idea. And it actually started on VH1 this past Monday, and it's been on every night this week. It's actually the fifth episode is going to be on at 10 p.m. tonight. They're rerunning the crap out of it on VH1 like they do with their shows. So it's on almost every moment of the day. You turn on VH1, it's on. And then the final 3 episodes are going to be Thursday's night at 10 starting next week.
So you actually have a beginning, middle, and you follow along a whole season with these people.
Yeah. We did a whole tournament. It's kind of like a national championship, sort of starting at the Sweet 16, college basketball. We did a single elimination tournament with 16 teams from all over the country. People who know a ridiculous, sick amount about pop culture. And then we've crowned a champion. They won $250,000, and that will sort of all play out in episode 8.
You know what I really thought was kind of fun about this is that the kind of serious tone that you've taken putting the show on. Normally, like the modern shows are a little more silly, but you guys went back and somehow you got Jack Barry back from the $64,000 question to come back and host your game show.
That's pretty funny. He kind of is Jack Barry reborn.
It is unbelievably a Jack Barry attitude. So everything feels really serious about these, fun pop culture questions.
We're taking this incredibly sort of light material really seriously, and this whole idea started in the control room of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where we asked somebody a $250,000 question about Saved by the Bell, and we just started laughing in the control room that this person was sweating and looking so serious about something as light as like a question about Screech from Saved by the Bell.
Oh, I bet I could answer it.
And that's where the whole idea came from, is trying to ask pop culture questions in a very sort of serious, formal environment.
And actually treat it like you were talking about Shakespeare or history or something along those lines.
Exactly. And also, by the way, I've noticed from doing Millionaire that increasingly I can't find anybody in the country who can answer a question about history or world rivers or Greek mythology. But you know what? I put up a question about, like, a famous episode of Friends, and, like, everybody knows it.
Now, I was thinking the same thing, too, because I see the BBC America here, and I noticed the game shows in England tend to go more history-type questions, and then we go more pop culture in America. Do you think that's true? Or
I think it's true, but I think we lead. Look, Deal or No Deal is a game show now which has absolutely no questions, and that's been a hit all around the world. So, I think that, trivia perhaps is reaching the sort of, regular trivia, the trivia we've become used to on Jeopardy and Millionaire, might be, nearing the end of its lifetime. Those shows will go on for years, but it's not what people really know about now. And you always need, on any trivia show, you need, shared knowledge. You need knowledge that you feel like everybody in the country knows. And that seems to be more pop culture now. I'm sure it's what you talk a lot about,
right?
On XM. I'm sure it's what's in People, it's what's in Us Weekly, it's what's in Entertainment Weekly, and that seems to be the shared knowledge.
I always thought a good game show is where the question, you could answer it, but it was right there. You had to either think for a second and somebody would beat you. It really comes down to how quick you can get the information out, too.
Well,
it's split second, like you should know it.
Yeah, well, play along. On Millionaire, the rule has always been we want to ask questions that you feel like you should know the answer, and you kind of feel a little silly when you don't. You feel like you've had access to it.
Right.
And look, Jeopardy's become an easier show over the years. But, these shows always need to be accessible. We want, game shows are the original interactive television, with people shouting out the answers from their sofas at home. That's what you always want people to be doing.
Well, we were just talking about this, Michael. What game shows did you grow up watching? What were the cool shows?
Well, I was lucky enough, in Britain, we had remakes of all the classic American shows. I used to love a show called Gambit. Do you remember that? It's like where they play 21.
Oh, yeah, sure.
On TV, I used to love that show. We had our own version of the match game called Blankety Blank, which I always really loved. And Card Sharks, which we called something different. I love those shows.
Do you think Match Game would be a hit now? Do you think you could bring something like that back if you got your hands on it?
Yeah, you know what? We've just worked on... We're doing a new show for Game Show Network right now called Chain Reaction, which is a remake of a classic 1980 game show. And I think a lot of the times you just need to make these shows feel a bit more modern, because the games they actually played were always really good.
Right. And a lot of... I always thought that a good reality show is really just a game show anyway, that the people don't get to go home. But some of the, like, Big Brother, to me, just seems like a game show.
I think they are game shows. Look, there was a British guy called Charlie Parsons who, about 8 years ago came up with the idea of the elimination of people voting each other out,
right?
Which now seems like the most old idea in the book, but he was the first person who ever thought of it. No one had thought of it before that. And that's a game device. And reality shows do rely on a game at the heart of them. And I think to some extent they are the new game shows. There's just no play-along. You can't really play along with Big Brother.
Now, would you ever like to get into fiction, or you just want to stay producing games?
I'm doing some comedy. So we're working on some sort of sitcom projects, some sketch shows. My first movie, a movie called Once in a Lifetime, the true story of the New York Cosmos, hit theaters last weekend.
Oh, yeah, great film. I didn't know that you were doing that.
Yeah, so we're doing some documentary films now, especially about the world of sports. So, and we're doing a lot of interactive stuff. We've got a new show on Yahoo called The Nine, which you can get to see at 9.yahoo.com, which is like a morning show about everything that's great on the web. So we do all kind of, different things. I just like, I always want to do things that I feel like I'd want to watch. I'm huge into sports. I love comedy. I love the internet. I love game shows. So that's mainly where my interest goes.
Michael Davies, his new show, The World Series of Pulp Culture. It's on again tonight on VH1 and then starts airing on Thursdays at 10 o'clock on VH1 starting next week.
Hey, Michael, thanks for being on, and call us anytime you need to plug something, okay, buddy?
Thanks so much. You're the best.
All right,
Bye.
Take care. Well, Earl, I bring up a name to you, and 14 minutes later, you get him on the phone.
Nothing but the best for my buddies.
Here's the problem. Why 14 minutes? What happened during that 14 minutes that I guess you're lollygagging around, enjoying a papaya drink?
You got to make calls. You got to explain yourself.
I'm busting balls. I thought that was great. That was great, Earl. Way to pull it off. Here's Mike. Mike, you're on the Ron and Fez show. How you doing, pal? Mike, go ahead, bud. Mike.
Buddies.
Go ahead.
How's it going? Hey, my all-time favorite game show is also the Hollywood Squares. I just wanted to ask Fez, who was his favorite center square of all time?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. It's Paul Lynde. Oh, my goodness.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be mine, too. He was, for his time, for the time, the years that he was on there, he was probably the most edgy person on TV at the time. Some of his jokes.
They used to get away with a lot of stuff back then, between Match Game and Hollywood Squares that wasn't getting on anywhere else. What's your favorite Paul Lynde joke there, Fez?
My favorite Paul Lynde joke is when they asked him, Paul, what's the greatest problem facing fat people in America? And he just looked and said, wicker furniture.
And then would little Fez Marie just be laughing and eating a Twinkie and just like, there's a glamorous life somewhere.
There was, and I'll tell you what, he became my hero instantly. I remember asking my parents for an ascot because Paul Lynde wore one of those scarf, not quite a tie, not quite a scarf. And I remember asking my parents for one because Paul Lynde was wearing one on TV.
Why didn't you say, Mom, Dad, can the other kids in the neighborhood beat me off for being pretentious?
I didn't care at that point, and I never got my ascot.
But later you got your ass caught, so it all worked out. So you wanted to be Paul Lynde. You were little Paul Lynde.
Yeah, that was my hero. I tried to start dressing better, because I was always in some torn shorts or T-shirt or something.
Jay, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the game show you guys were talking about before that you couldn't think about with the little boxes and the husbands and the wives on was Tattletale.
Tattletale, Fez.
Okay.
Where the wives couldn't hear what the husbands had said, and for some reason they're wearing matching sweaters.
The yellow section, the blue section, and the red section with sweaters.
I would not I wouldn't go on a game show that made you dress in a certain style. I would just be like, look, either you can have me or you can't, but I'm not putting on the stupid sweater.
Yeah, it may look nice on Betty White, but the red sweater and white slacks isn't going to look so good on Alan Ludden, her husband. And that was also Bert Convey took over Password for Alan Ludden when they brought it back.
Here is Scooter. You're on Ron and Fez.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, buddy.
Hey, the worst game show of all time I used to watch when I was in Florida is called Card Sharks.
I disagree. I love Card Sharks. And then again, I love any show that has gigantic dice. Gigantic dice is fantastic. Mike, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hi, Ron. Hi, Fez.
What can we do for you, Mike? That was it?
Yeah? Hello?
That was it, Mike?
No, that's not it. On Cash Cab, it's not as spontaneous as you think it is. If you read the credits, they pre-screen all the people that they have on that show.
Well, by pre-screening, what they probably mean is once they shock them and say it, they come in and make sure that they can play the show. What I imagine that they do is people jump in, They find out they're on the cash cab. Then they have to come running in to make sure that they don't work for the network or don't have any connections with the people there. I'm sure there's shit they got to
Yeah,
sign.
they just got to get their permission just to be on TV.
Right.
Yeah, use their face on the video and everything. There's a lot to go through there.
But it's not like there's people waiting and then he drives up. We had the opportunity to have lunch with the fine people from Cash Cab.
They probably make you sign something in case the cab's in a wreck while you're answering questions.
You know, it's probably true. I didn't even think about that. But suddenly now a big TV network is driving you around New York. You can sue the hell out of them. More fires in California?
Yep. Yeah, that's burning. I think, what are they up to? I think 76,000 acres, 84,000 acres gone.
It doesn't seem to you that we are able to come up with better ways of putting this out, not some kind of water bomb that could put out these fires.
Yeah, they're still flying baskets over, hoping that works. Baskets of water.
There's got to be a better way of pulling it off. There really does. We got to take a break here. Earl, nice get there with Michael Davies. Very impressed.
Thank you, Ron.
I believe Fezziet's a win for Team Bennington today.
Man.
I mean, how could it not be?
I know. There's no competing with that. Well, there would be if Eastside Dave could get somebody.
You know, somebody wrote to me the other day going, really fair fights between you and Fez when you're the one who gets to pick who the winner is every day. I always check to see if Fez agrees with me. Right now, my team is undefeated. And this is not me against Fez. And it's not about comedy even. It's about our management styles. Fez was supposed to take on Dave, mold him into something. Let's face it, Dave's hanging on by a thread. I took on Earl, molded him into the star that he is, who has now won it, and I'll let the world know this, by 3 different radio companies have been calling Earl, offering him work lately.
Really? I didn't know that much.
3 different majors. 4 if you throw this one in. So I'm trying not to get Earl stole away from us. That's my big worry right now.
Maybe your molding went too well.
You might have a point. I might be Johnny Starmaker, and I didn't even know it.
You may have no one to blame for this but yourself.
Well, if Earl gets bought away, we will lose that day, the final day. Team Bennington will take the loss. And if Earl leaves, I'm getting rid of Dave that same day and just starting fresh, getting a new team.
You just clean the slate.
Last night I had a conversation with Earl explaining to him that money's not important. I go, money's not important, Earl. It's the love of the job. And then he goes, how much do you make? And I just acted like I couldn't hear him anymore, like there was something wrong with my phone.
Gotta go.
I'm in a canyon, Earl. I'm in a canyon. We'll take a break. We're right back. Ron and Fez.
Ron and Fez, XM 202.
Fez show. Time to go open up the big-ass prize closet. We'll be giving away some stuff for naming our interns. But next Wednesday, Fezzy, we're going to hang and party with you.
That's right. Hanging out with the RonFez.net buddies at the Blue Room. That's at 1140 2nd Avenue, right there at 60th Street. That party starts about 8 o'clock. Everyone come out and hang with your buddies.
Now let's bring in intern number 1 and intern number 2, if we can. By the way, I want to thank Little John for running out. Is Bill still here?
Bill left. He had to go. He had a train to catch.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to keep my eye on you. Why wouldn't you line them up as intern number 1 and intern number 2? This way. So we're going to go backwards like we're Chinese people.
Left to right is how we do it in this country, mister.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why they do it in Jersey, but it's got to be lined up that way.
Okay.
This might be your last day. What do you say, Dave? Seriously, I think you're a lot of fun and you're silly, but I can't have all those papers in front of Fez, even after I asked you about them, and I can't have all the craziness.
Well, the 1 was closer, so 1 and 2 felt like closer.
Look at these interns and try to guess which one's going to replace you, because I really have the feeling one will. If you had to pick for yourself, would it be intern 1 or intern 2?
After yesterday, I'll say number 2, but number 1's strong. Number 1's strong.
Okay. Now, intern number 1, you did get off to a slow start yesterday, but I did like this. You tell us that you play the cello.
Yes.
And maybe at some point in the future, you might bring the cello in. We'll have a cello contest.
If you so desire.
Now, intern number 2, your big thing was your ability to play tennis.
That's correct.
You're an undefeated tennis player.
That's correct, 1,000 winning percentage.
Yeah. And do you see yourself in the future as being on air, having an on-air gig, or?
I think if it were categorized as opposed to being production or on air, I would be more likely to go on air.
No, you want to go full talk, or would you like to play some records?
I think it would be nice to start off having that kind of musical crutch with records, but then maybe to build up to all
Then my thing for him would be Shotgun Steve. I would want the name Shotgun Steve if I could.
If you're going to be, playing the disc.
No. All right, let me go over some of the names they picked for you guys. Then you had your own. You were also going to come up with your own name. So before we get into this, Fezzy, let's hear their names. Intern number 1, the cello player. What name do you want for yourself if you had to?
Well, I came up with 2.
Okay.
It was going to be Vertigo.
I like Vertigo a lot, Fez.
Because I got a little case of the Vertigo.
I had no
morning.
idea.
Kind of sucked.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to come in, but Dave talked me into it.
Is it because of the height, the fact that we're up on the 4th floor, big skyscraper?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just get it when I wake up.
Okay.
And the second one would be White Magic. There were a lot of references to me being white bread, whitey.
I got a lot of that.
So, white, and then the magic part is because it's magical when I play my instrument.
Sure, and you are magic. You're magic on the air. All right, intern number 2, what did you decide for yourself?
If I had to, although I liked some of the suggestions, they were kind of strong, but if I had to, I kind of would have gone for a little comic superhero action, The Flash.
I like The Flash, Fezzy.
The Flash?
Yeah, here comes The Flash. He's in here. Yeah, and what else?
That's pretty much what I got. I decided to go for 1.
Sure, I like it. All right, let me go over some of the stuff that was sent in. Jersey Mall Rat and Yellow Balls. Now, I will tell you this. Since you play tennis, Yellow Balls caught up quite a bit. Carpetbagger for you also, number 2, since you went from New York downtown. Bing was something people wanted to call you. For you, number 1, Cello... Mellow Cello, Cello Jello. My favorite right here, and I think Earl would like it too, Cello Biafra. So I don't know whether that's big enough for anybody. Fez, you like that one?
That one's nice. I don't know. It's not my absolute favorite yet. It hasn't caught me yet.
I don't know if you're much of a punk fan, though. If you're a punk fan, you'd be cracking up. One of my other favorites, 10-Speed and Brown Shoe, came in for Fez.
I totally like that one.
And that's Ken from Portland. So he always really is on top of things. Let me see if there's anything else in my bunch that I really like. Not Eastside Dave. The Battling Bowman and Ball Boy, I like. String Bean and Double A. I think we already have a Double A around. Personality Crisis, that's for you, number 1.
Thanks.
And Blue Balls, because you don't fuck, number 2. So a lot of, I got to tell you the truth, a lot of these were somewhat negative.
Some of the ones I liked for intern number 2, the tennis star. This is one of my favorite, Richie Tenenbaum from the Royal Tenenbaums. Flounder and Otter for the interns from Animal House. Also for intern number 2, Baby No Puss. I like that one. For intern number 1, he was such a fan of Martini Steve the Bear from the O&A show. Steve the Cub. Chuck and Buck will always make me laugh. I like that one.
Sure it will.
And let's see, for intern number 1, Jaundice was suggested.
I don't understand that.
Me neither, but I just thought it was a funny word to say.
Why would anybody call Vertigo Jaundice? I don't get it.
And for intern number 2, the tennis star, Girl Game as your nickname.
Sure.
Gigi.
Ooh.
If we broke it down into initials.
Yeah, Gigi would be nice for you, for Girl Game. Yeah, and a lot of Bjorn in the USA came up for you that I liked in a big, big way. So, Fezzy, I'm going to let you pick. You got them all out there, plus their names, Vertigo and The Flash, which is really not bad.
Yeah, I'm going to go, let's see, I think with intern number 2, I am going to go with, I'll do him first, I want to go with The Flash. I like The Flash on that one.
All right, so no winner for the first one. And on interns number 1?
And intern number 1, I am going to go with, from ronfez.net, I like this one, Moltek Susky, because he's from Susquehanna. I like Susky.
Susky's good. Let's ink it. It's a done deal.
All right, there they go. Susky
and the Flash.
Since I picked mine, can I get a prize?
Sure. Go in and help yourself.
You know where
down
they're
in
at.
the big-ass prize closet. All right, talk to you guys later. There they go.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Vertigo. Take care. Make sure we got a big winner there, too. Take care. What was the winner's name, Fez?
Smoltek on ronfez.net.
Susky and the Flash.
I think it's going to work out for him. Mr. T announced that he will no longer wear his trademark gold chains, saying it wouldn't be right to wear those after he saw all of the destruction done by Hurricane Katrina.
I think he says it wouldn't be right because he no longer can afford it. I've decided to get rid of my gold chains for food and shelter.
Yeah, and also, at his age, I think he may be having a little trouble with the neck carrying those gold chains around. Angelina Jolie is going to play the wife of murdered Wall Street Journal reporter Daniel Pearl. Now, that was a dramatic role that was originally meant for Jennifer Aniston. So, Angelina Jolie, not enough for her yet. Still taken from Jennifer Aniston.
Sounds like an awful movie anyway.
Yeah, I guess it's based on the book that Daniel Pearl's widow wrote after he was killed.
I read that book. I didn't laugh once.
Oh, I don't think it's supposed to be a comedy.
Tell me about it. I'm sure of it now, Fez.
Outed CIA officer Valerie Plame and her husband are suing Vice President Cheney, Scooter Libby, and Karl Rove for conspiring to destroy her career. So now that I guess this will be a civil suit where to try to get the vice president in there, saying that the leaks from the White House cost her career.
Don't we have something where you can't sue the president and the vice president?
I thought there was some sort of immunity there.
Well, you can't. I don't know if it's immunity, but you can't tie them up while they're in the office. I always thought that.
Yeah, maybe this is a thing where they're going to wait to the 3 years to get him out of office. I'm not sure about that. Entertainment Weekly has Ed McMahon as their greatest sidekick of all time.
This guy can't tell the future. He doesn't know shit.
No.
All right, let me ask you. If you're such a great psychic, Ed McMahon, tell me who's going to win the Super Bowl right now.
Not psychic, sidekick.
Well, I don't even think there's a runner-up for that.
Their runner-up, their top five included number 2, Robin the Boy Wonder, George Costanza from Seinfeld, Chewbacca from Star Wars was number 4, and Lucy's best friend Ethel Mertz was at number 5.
I see Chewbacca as a legitimate sidekick, Robin as a sidekick. George Costanza is not a sidekick. Tonto, sidekick.
Now, Tonto, from what I understand, didn't even make it in their list of the top 50.
That's crazy talk.
So I don't know how you make a list of sidekicks.
Is there a fucking list a day? Every time I turn around, there's some list that we're going, well, how could that be? Like, it's just because they put it in a list gives them any authority.
Yeah, Entertainment Weekly presents the 50 greatest sidekicks of all time. And, of course, still plenty of problems in the Middle East going on, where Iran is daring Israel to attack... Israel to attack Syria. And saying if they do, then they're going to have Iran on their back.
Well, didn't they already attack them? I'm very confused.
Yeah, Israel attacked Lebanon for the Hezbollah there. So they say that this Hezbollah group is being run out of Syria and Iran, so those two countries are getting mixed up in it. And if Israel tries to go after Syria for housing Hezbollah, Iran will go after Israel. So it really does look like we're getting enough countries involved in this, so when it all breaks loose, it will be World War III.
Any of the big major powers lining up on the Arabs?
Not that I'm aware of.
No Russia or China in there?
No, and the European Union got together yesterday.
Out of every country in the world, Fezzi, who makes you the most nervous? Who are you most afraid of?
I think China makes me the most nervous.
Mine, Australia.
Why Australia?
Water runs the wrong way.
Oh, that's nothing.
I don't go for the counterclockwise flushing, my friend.
Well, that shouldn't be able to hurt us at all.
Devil stuff. Immediately, that sounds like devil stuff.
You ever notice how Australia, too, has all the animals that nobody else has? Like, you don't see kangaroos anywhere else but Australia. They didn't show up in any sort of land, like right across the globe from Australia. In South America.
Just Australia.
Just Australia.
Koala bears.
Yeah. I think the duck-billed platypus.
Dingo. A dingo took my baby. Oh, they're fucking awful people, those Aussies. Maybe, and I hate to say this, the Australians are probably the worst white people on the planet. The worst white people on the planet. What just happened there?
I didn't know something was on, and I hit the wrong button. I actually should have hit a button before I hit the first button, is the problem. Got an email, Ronnie. This from Robbie. It says, what is something bad you did as a teenager and can't rationally explain now? Here's the rules. 1, you shouldn't even explain what state of mind would have allowed you to do such a thing. It doesn't mean you were drunk or on drugs, just young and stupid. 2, it has to be something that if a kid did it to you nowadays and you caught him, you would either kick his ass or murder him. And Robbie gives his own example. For him, it was driving around with a BB gun, shooting the windows out of parked cars almost every night, and that went on for several months.
So he's bringing up the evilness of the teenage mind.
Yeah.
What did you do that you're so humiliated by that you would kill a kid for doing it now?
Yeah.
For me, and I can picture this, I can picture it right in my head, rolling a soft boy, taking fucking his money and kicking him right in his, a couple of kids on him. No fucking reason. We all came from nice enough families. There was no reason to do it to this fucking kid. Fucking still bothers me to this day. I was part of that.
We had this kid, the sickly kid, and for some reason got it in our heads one night to torment him. Went and showed up outside his house and left a note on his windshield of his car that his brake lines had been fucked with.
No reason at all?
No reason at all. No reason at all. And just don't be careful driving this car. And made a really threatening letter. Just made the whole, like we had just destroyed the inside of this car.
And was it because he was sick?
I have no idea. He was definitely weak. I know that.
He didn't do anything to you guys?
No, not a thing. Not a thing whatsoever. And just...
Did you really cut the lines?
No, just left a note on there to make it seem like his brakes had been screwed with.
Here's our buddy Snuggins. Hey, Snugs.
Buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, back in the day, we used to go out drinking. We would hang out when we were like 15. We'd hang out with someone with a license. And then we'd get in their car with aluminum baseball bats and find all the big houses with mailboxes at the end of the driveway and hit them with the bats as we drove by at 50 miles an hour.
I actually got arrested. My first arrest was for destroying federal property, and we were running in the mailboxes with our shoulders on the way home. It was St. Patrick's Day, drunk as fuck on Bushmills, and the cop, after getting complaint calls, he just follows the broken mailboxes right to us. There was no attempt to get away, no attempt to do it. And in my own neighborhood. These are my people. There was no fucking reason to do this at all. Just awful to be involved in that kind of stuff. There's a mean-spiritedness to kids. And you know when people hate kids when they get older? I think that they were probably the worst kids. That's why they hate kids so much. They don't even want to look back. When they see kids acting the way kids act, that reminds them of themselves, and they just fucking hate themselves for it. Peter, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, it was high school graduation night, about 2:30 in the morning. I took a big giant rock, walked right up to my principal's house, and threw it right through his big picture window in his living room.
No reason at all?
Nope.
No reason at all. Unbelievable. Here is Paint gun, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
When I was a freshman in high school, I hung about $80,000 worth of damage into a new house in the development. I was in a sledgehammer. I was just fucking having at it in the place.
I don't know why the thing about breaking and destroying is so important to you. And normally it's like the young teens, like 13, 12. You just want to throw and break and destroy for no apparent reason.
Yeah, if it looks smashable, man, there's that overwhelming desire to go in, just smash someone's lawn gnome or something.
Why? I remember we used to, when I was like little, like 9, 10, we used to fuck everybody's Christmas decorations up. Pull their fucking lights out, or pop them out and throw them against their house. What is the reason for that?
I remember we used to be, for whatever reason, we was into rock throwing. For whatever reason, just throwing rocks against the wall.
Against each other, just constant throwing rocks.
Just trying to make it skip. And I look back and I was like, what were we thinking about? Why don't we just play ball or something?
Yeah.
It's like a retard.
Just destroying for no apparent reason. Kevin, you're on the Fez.
Buddy, we used to go to Walmart, have two people hang out in the back of the pickup truck, grab one of the shopping carts, and go down the road. And whenever you found somebody coming, well, you're in town, it's only running like 30. You're running into cars and mailboxes and hard shit like that.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I'll tell you, I got another one I fucking hate, man. It pops into my mind. I'm like not trying to take the fucking thing that it's not my responsibility because I didn't do it, but I was, literally part of it. I'm sitting down at dinner, eating. I got to be like 9th grade, 8th, 9th grade. Because my parents were like, we all eat at the same time every night. Like, there was nothing wrong about the way I was raised. I was taught the difference between right and wrong, good and bad. Not even a problem figuring out what was wrong. Like some people you could say, I didn't know what I was doing was wrong, and maybe you could believe them. I was taught those lessons. I'm sitting down. A friend of mine knocks at the door, right? So I have to jump up. He goes, come on, let's get out of here. I go, no, I got to finish my meal. He goes, look at this. He pops open a purse. He opens it. It's just fucking chock full of money. There's just cash all over the place in this purse. I go, let me finish. I'll be right down. I'll be right out. I'll meet you at the corner. I'm fucking down. I'm eating my meal as quick as I can. Not even like 4 minutes has passed. Doorbell rings again. My dad hops up. Who the hell is that? Because I told him it was nobody the first time. He hops up. I hear him yell, Ronnie, get over here. I go up. Here's the man from the store, the little Italian in a hoagie shop in my neighborhood. He has his mom with him. This woman had to be in her 80s. Where is your friend that we always see you with? He was in our store. Now my purse is missing. She's fucking crying. That's my rent money. I go, I don't know. Who are you talking about? They're like, I'm acting like I don't know shit. I don't know nothing. They go, the boy who comes. I go, I know a lot of fucking people. What is? I'm looking at my dad. I'm going, what is this all about? This is insanity. We're trying to finish our meal. He goes, you definitely know nothing about this. I'm like, no, I don't. I know nothing. We go in. I give my usual Fez. Zip. Nada. I go in. I finish the meal. I run out and see him. We go out, see the older guys, pick up an ounce of pot, case of wine, and a handful of loots. Not a fucking slightest bit of guilt do I have that this old lady's money had been taken. Now, I would never have in a million years have reached apart and grabbed that fucking cash. For some reason, I felt superior that I didn't do it. But did I take part in all the fucking spoils of this? Yes, I did. Without a speed bump of feelings. Without, for once, thinking, you know what? That old lady might really need that cash. More than we need this weed, wine, and lewds.
We used to torment an old lady in our neighborhood. Where firecrackers and everything. Just absolutely awful.
Here is, look who it is from L.A. It's Little Lene. Little Lene is on the line for us. She's in Los Angeles, California. How you doing, Lene?
Hi, Ron. Hi, Fez.
Hi, Lene.
I'm just saying hi from L.A., Disney.
What are you doing out there?
I'm at Disney.
What are you doing in Los Angeles? You're from New York.
I'm visiting my godfather, and so I don't have to be in a hotel. And we just want to just have a vacation. Go to Disney. You know what I'm saying? See the sights.
What have you done so far at Disney?
I've been on Splash Mountain. It was really fun. Second seat, and I didn't really get really wet, but
Well, you're still young. When you get older, I'm sure you will. Right now, honey, you're not at that age. You give it a couple years, and I bet all the boys will make you feel that way.
I've also been on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Pirates of the Caribbean, the new Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disney.
Did you get wet on that one?
Honey, Fez, she's not that age. I don't care even if it is Johnny Depp. It's not going to happen for her yet. Have you seen any stars out there in L.A.?
Yes, I saw Ty from the NXS show.
Ty from the NXS show. Who else?
At the Roxy Club.
At the Roxy? What are you doing at the Roxy?
Meeting Ty.
You're a little young to be hanging out at the Roxy. How old are you?
9.
9? You shouldn't be at the Roxy for another 3 years.
A 9-year-old can't meet Ty on a red carpet?
No, that's way too young to be on a red carpet meeting Ty.
Why?
You're just not ready for that yet. You're going too fast.
We were just going on the Sunset Strip, and we saw Ty. And Brooke.
Wow, what an exciting time. How long are you staying out there, honey?
A week. But right now it's like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know. I forgot.
All right, well, check in with us. We're glad you're having fun, okay?
I am.
All right. Go meet more stars, and we'll talk to you later.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, Eric, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Yeah, guys. Hey, when I was about 14 or 15, some friends and I used to go out every Friday night. We'd take a bag full of M80s and a couple of baseball bats. We'd light the M80s off in mailboxes, and if we catch a stray cat running around, we'd end up beating the hell out of the cat with a baseball bat.
No, you were a cat killer.
I was a cat killer.
Every neighborhood has a cat killer, and what they say, a cat killer is more likely to grow up to be a serial killer than anybody else.
Well, and there is some truth to that. Of my 3 friends that I used to do this with, I'm the only one that doesn't have a record now.
All the rest of them serial killers?
One's doing hard time in prison, one's dead, shot to death by a cop, and the other one just vanished.
Let me ask you this. Even as of right now, are you tense and nervous and you can't relax? Can you sleep if your bed's on fire?
Really. Huh? I'm sorry to hear you, Ron.
All right, bro.
All right.
Best of luck.
It's only a matter of time for him.
Every neighborhood had that kid that would kill cats. And we didn't know it at the time. But it's like you were hanging around with Son of Sam. Like Charlie Manson was in your neighborhood.
We had a guy who always beat up dogs for some reason. Would beat up stray dogs.
Odd.
Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Better run away. Oh, psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est?
Hey, John, you're on Ron and Fez.
Oh, God, boys, you guys are bringing back some memories.
I live all the way down here in Louisiana. I did all that stuff except for the animal killing.
I could never kill an animal like that either. I would never kill animals.
The thing that gets me, and here's what I don't understand. I used to steal to tests in high school, did, all the stuff you guys are talking about. I got a stepson now who's 18, 19, and I've told all of this stuff to. And I've tried to teach the kid either don't do it or how not to get caught, because I never got caught doing anything. I always sort of knew when not to do it and have those kids get caught, And they're doing the same shit and getting caught doing it, and I can't for the life of me understand now how after you told them what was going to happen, they still go out like they're fucking retards and go do it and get caught. I just don't understand it.
There is an inability to see the big picture, I think, when you're a kid. That you don't see the future, you don't see consequences. I remember if I was into a thing of, all right, you're in trouble, you're not going out this weekend, I couldn't see beyond that weekend. I had to get out of the fucking house. It sounded to me like death of not being able to go to one single party.
You're just in that moment, and that's all that matters is that one particular moment. And then,
exactly. That's a good point. You are living in the moment like you do at no time during the rest of your life. That is everything to you.
And that'll always be the excuse, too. When someone would come up to you after you did it, something like that, they go, what were you thinking? And all you could say was, I wasn't thinking. I didn't think. And that's probably more truer than not. The brain just shuts off.
I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have the full abilities to say it the way an adult does. Because, like I said before, I can't take, the cop of this, I fucking knew the difference between right and wrong. And it had nothing to do with it. Didn't bother me.
One of my nephews, he's been in and out of trouble a lot. And I'm like, I try to tell him, you don't see the big picture. He goes, no, you don't understand. At that particular moment, that's all you're thinking about. That's all that, I'm like, but you don't see past, you know what I mean?
Suddenly this became Kids in the Hood or whatever the hell that was. You're in Compton.
No, you mean, but
give me the gun. Give me the gun.
But just like little petty stuff like cutting class or whatever.
You're living Boys in the Hood, and you're Lawrence right now. You're trying to deal with it. Nathan, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hi, Nathan. Nate?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. When we were kids, we had this cliff by our house, and you could see traffic coming from both left and right. And we'd sit up there with about 5 guys just loaded up with snowballs, and we would just pelt cars as they would come by, and you would see people stop and look back, and we'd just duck in the woods. They couldn't see us, and we just got the biggest kick out of it. And now if that happened to me, I would just be irate.
And yeah, here's the thing. You would plan that kind of shit. Like, remember, we're all getting together to do this. You'd make up a fucking name for it. It's all coming down. By the way, Earl, you know how when you would knock on a door and run? What was that called in your neighborhood?
I don't remember a specific name for it. We just kind of did it.
We called it end knocking.
Hey.
And I want you to know the truth. I want to get these things out and let you know I'm sorry about them. I did not know.
Oh, okay. If you didn't know. But
I didn't know the difference. I thought all you guys did that.
No, we didn't.
So I was wrong. I'm the first to admit it.
I recently became the guy who chases the kids. I couldn't even believe it. Some kids threw snowballs at me this past winter, and I was so infuriated. I got in my car and started chasing the kids, and then I quit because I was like, holy shit, I'm the guy chasing
You are
kids.
the guy. Yeah.
It
you
was fucking depressing is what it was.
And now you might as well be the big fucking moron. I know we had a guy when we would be coming home from like 9th, 10th grade. We would cut through his lawn all the time, and he would be furious and come and running out. And one year it was in the snow, and I had a fucking snowball, and he came out and was like screaming at us and reached toward me. I took the fucking, and this was like an old man, like late 70s, early 80s. I fucking hit him point blank in the chest with a fucking snowball that was like an ice ball. He starts doing the Fez Watley, grabbing at his chest.
That is freaking scary. When you think you may have killed someone?
Didn't scare me in the least.
Didn't feel any of it.
Nothing. And I'm going to tell you the truth. The guy could have dropped dead. I don't know if I'd have been too... You ever see these things with the kid in the fucking movies? Like, they'll kill somebody, then they take other kids back to see the bodies? Because you're not putting it all together when you're a kid.
Did you ever lace your snowballs with, like, pebbles or rocks or everything?
Of course, Sorrel. Those things were like fucking bricks by the time you were throwing them. And I honestly thought I was in the right. I think the guy grabbed my fucking sweater or something. I was fucking furious. Mr. Bush, we used to call him, because he would be like, don't touch the bush. Don't touch the bush. And, of course, you go by and yank the fucking thing. Crazy bastard. Buy a fucking fence. You're lucky I didn't hit you in the forehead with that goddamn ice ball. Patrick, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, you guys, 1183.
Way to go, bro.
Anyway.
That's old school.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, when I was a little kid, we were about 7 or 8. Me and my two buddies were playing. This big friggin' older kid, I don't know, 7 or 8 years older than us, was started messing with us and was, going to beat us up or something. So we ran home and got our friend's older brother, and we chased this kid. We chased him into a 5 and 10. He hid in the store. He wouldn't come out, so we hid behind the cars. When he came out, we surrounded him. He ran into the street, ran to a big fucking busy street, got hit by a car and bounced over the hood, and he got rushed to the hospital. I saw him a couple of years later. He had a hunchback, and I never felt so bad in my life. He kind of looks like that's Eastside Dave. He's a redheaded freaking weirdo in the beginning,
right?
To begin with, and we just fucked him up, and I never felt so bad in my life to see that kid a couple of years later all hunched over and everything. I'm like, oh God, it still hurts me today when I think about that kid.
See, that's the thing, that these things can turn really bad, really, really fast. And I remember I had a neighborhood school that we walked to. For some reason, some kid used to take a bus to another school all by himself and would get off at that bus stop. Probably because he was half a retard. I don't fucking know. I can't remember. We would wait for that fucking kid and kick the dog shit out of him for taking a bus to a different school instead of walking to ours. Now, you talk about prejudice. And in my mind, I'm like, we got to get that fucking kid who gets off the bus. I'm fucking going along with the pack. I remember seeing him run from what looked like fucking bumblebees. That's how many kids were chasing. Fucking chasing him down, kicking him, hitting him. No reason other than he took a bus. I saw a kid in my neighborhood. He used to wear leg braces. We used to fucking knock him down for it. For wearing leg braces.
All it takes is one little difference. And it doesn't have to be a big difference like leg braces.
If you got a chipped tooth, they'll fucking turn on you. There must be something in your DNA that says turn on the weak. You know what I mean? It must be part of the whole evolutionary process. You're looking for a kid with fucking glasses. Should be attacked for some reason to the other kids.
Well, I'll never forget my friend Al. He had big ears. He had just big protruding ears every single day. Someone smacking him upside the head, upside the ears. They're boxing his head. They do the old Deacon Joe head slap on his ears every single day.
See, that's the thing, Fuzzy. Like, you were parents when you wanted to get that ascot when you were younger and they wouldn't get it for you.
Right.
They don't want their kid to stand out. Standing out is not good for a child. You want to fit into it's like being a Nazi with a fucking pink coat. They will turn on you. You've got to put on a Nazi uniform and goose step along if you want to survive. And that's basically what the childhood years are like. Can I hide in the crowd until it's okay to move to the village and paint? But you can't do that when you're 12 or 13. You don't want to be the little boy in town making dresses because they will drag you outside and cut your fucking fingers off.
They would go after you if you got like a new shirt or a new pair of sneakers. Heaven forbid your jeans were too blue from being new.
Yeah, first thing they do is scuff up your fucking sneakers as soon as they saw you.
Stepsies?
Yeah. You can call them fucking spoiled in a heartbeat. You didn't want to have anything that stood out. I don't know whether the kids are still the same way because they're so brand conscious, but, you just want to fit in all the time.
It was worse when you were the only one that didn't have something that everybody else had.
God forbid, again, your mom doesn't get you Converse. It was always fucking Chuck Taylor. These are white! What are you doing? What are you doing? I need black Converse.
Mine was Pro Kids, and there were two types of Pro Kids. One was the sole was white, and then the other ones had 3 stripes. They used to call them Uptowns.
Right.
God forbid you did not get the Uptowns because you just would not hear it. It was $5 less.
I know.
Than what the Uptowns were.
Oh, there was like a fucking dry goods store called W.T. Grant's. And that's what you would get your balls busted if something didn't look. Where are you? Your mom at W.T. Grant's? Where's your WTGs? I always thought it was like a fucking national thing. Was the Pro Kids, was that all tied in with rap when you were younger?
It was right before, and then once rap music came in, and like everyone really became sneaker conscious. If you didn't have a pair of Adidas, you were a freaking mutt. And then later with the Air Jordans, if you didn't have the brand spanking new Air Jordans, it's like you just never heard the end of it.
You know, as Shaq even said, we make a sneaker that's like $35. So every kid could have my shoes. You don't think those kids know what these cheap Shaq shoes are and they're going to fucking turn on them? Kids are looking for a reason to turn on other kids. It's very difficult. You know, and even now with your kids, you'd be like, go out, play. Fucking trust them if they're going, there's a problem out there. It's better. Because to you, I don't care. Your neighborhood could look like Primrose Lane. It could look like the nicest, easiest place in the world. There's still fucking mean streets out there if you're a kid.
And the only way to really overcome that is if you knew how to, like my brother was the best fighter.
Right.
So, but he was always very quiet, very introverted. I was very quiet, we just kind of kept to ourselves. They always picked on the quiet kid, and just to see how far you could push them before they snapped.
Right.
I remember there was like the neighborhood bully was trying to start something with me. My brother completely snapped, because we just looked after each other.
Right.
Completely snapped, beat this guy within an inch of his life. I have to pull him off. He takes a swing at me for pulling him. I was like, "You're going to kill this guy." He goes, "I don't care." He just said, "I don't care." I mean,
you will lose it out there. Now, I had a much older brother. If things got too ugly, my mom would send him out. Find those fucking kids, take your brother, and kill them for what they did. So he would go out, "Is this him? Is this him?" And then finally I'm like, "Yeah." Boom. Kick him. He would fucking take him down, and I would have to do something to him. And then that would be like a little bit of a reputation, because the fucking bully would say, "I'd kick your ass, pussy, except for your brother." And that would be enough for me. I don't fucking care. I don't need your respect. I just want you to stop hitting me. That's what I'm after here. You fucking piece of shit. Let me go out and play like someone else. I have a kite. I'm not here to fight. I have a fucking kite.
I was the same way. It was just like, I would beat the shit out of you, but your brother's cool. It was never your brother could fight. It was like, yeah, your brother's cool, though.
Yeah,
it's
right.
All right.
I'm friends with your brother.
Yeah, right. Sure you are, you fuck. You piece of shit. God, these fucking kids were awful. It's fucking terrible to grow up. I would never want to go through it. That's the reason I could never be a Buddhist. I do not want to go back to 3rd grade. I don't want to deal with that again. And then some people look back on their childhood like it was it was great. Those were different times. I'm like, you're out of your mind. We lived like guppies. Your head was on a swivel. You were looking around all the time.
It was survival of the fittest. You were just wondering how to make it through the next hour, much less the next day.
I'm telling you, I've been on playgrounds where I've seen kids come in that looks like a fucking shark going through an aquarium. You would just see everybody. There's guys to this day, if I'd saw them, I'd fucking climb a flagpole to get away from them. There's a fucking pair of twins, psycho twins, that I know for a fact are still fucking chasing people and beating them up. They gotta be. They're not gonna ever stop.
That was the other thing with neighborhood kids. There was always the psycho twins.
Yeah.
They were either, they hit anything that moved, or they were just so out there, you just didn't want to be anywhere near them.
They had groupthink. It was fucking fighting two of them, and they were just running fucking rampant wherever they went. Don't let anybody tell you the twins aren't freaks. That's a fucking freak of nature.
In my town, it was, I can't say the brother's name, but the Psycho Twins beat me up because they didn't like the smell of my copper tone.
Sure.
They said, "I fucking hate coconuts." And they started to pound on me because they thought copper tone smelled like
Your mom needs to fucking find a brand of sunscreen that does not bring the attention of the neighborhood maniacs.
That was the hairpin trigger then. It was the least little thing that could set off, a neighborhood bully from terrorizing you. You could walk down the street with a soda, and you happen to say, "No, I'm not giving you the soda," and all hell would break loose for the next week.
I remember I got into a fight over that one. It's like, "Hey, we were playing I was playing a game of pinball. It's like, hey, could I take a ball?" And I'm on fire. You don't want to stop. And it's like, hey, I was like, nah, I'm kind of in a roll here. Next thing I know, I'm getting the shit kicked out of me up and down Northern Boulevard.
Was it like that? Could they say next ball in your neighborhood?
Yeah, they would say next. They say
next ball or flippers.
No, it was.
Give me flips.
I think it was just with the quarter. They would just put the quarter down and say, hey, next game.
Right.
This guy just walked in, hey, can I have a ball? And I was like, no.
We would do that with our friends where you could be able to yell out at this little hoagie shop, next ball or flips. If you didn't yell out no first, the fucking guy, by whatever code we live by, got the next ball of your fucking game. Somebody could say hunks and get a fucking piece of your sandwich, motherfuckers. Jesus Christ. I just want to live my life with my funds. Could you imagine you doing that as a neighborhood? Tits. You yell tits and get to fucking grab the guy's wife's tits. Insane.
You're blowing your allowance on a sandwich. You just want to relax and eat like a gentleman.
You stole some money from your grandmother. Now you'd like a meatball. Is that so much? Well, you fucking filthy bastard swinging around with your next and gimme and Jesus Christ. I'm telling you, I don't know how kids put up with it, man. You wonder why kids don't go out nowadays. Because all of our parents would have been locked up, and we would have been constantly in the court system for the amount of fighting that went on. I mean, if like a 6-year-old attacks a 5-year-old, the cops will get involved. When we were younger, the cops would pull over to watch the fight. They fucking thought it was interesting.
That was always funny when they had the kids fighting and the cops would just stand and lean against the post. Like, hey, look at that little bastard.
A lot of adults thought it was fucking hysterical. I had a thing one time. My dad and my brother watched me in a fight when a kid tried to make me eat mud pies. He was sticking it in my fucking mouth. And it ended up, I couldn't fight, and the kid was my friend. I couldn't fucking beat him in a fair fight. I took a metal bucket and started beating him around the head until he went home. And I get home, and I'm fucking exhausted after this battle. I open up the door. My dad and brother are cheering, trying to fucking lift me up. I go, it's great that you're all fucking happy that I had the dirty fight and take a metal fucking bucket and beat my friend around the fucking face with it. Why didn't one of you assholes come out of the house?
They're ECW fans.
I was losing.
Did you have that family in the neighborhood where everyone from top to bottom was stone cold crazy?
Absolutely. I could tell you the names. There was about 4 or 5 houses. Dirty. It was always filthy, dirty house, right?
Awful house. I mean, it looked like a sty. You knew who lived there.
And they were insane. This one kid, we had chased him home, and we're fucking throwing rocks. He has the hose on the front porch squirting at us. We run back. He runs in the house with the hose, right? We're still yelling shit. He takes the hose, the handle of the hose, knocks out a panel of the fucking front window and start, like in a movie, like a gangster movie, and starts shooting water at us. They were out of their fucking minds, that family.
The bunker mentality.
Yeah, but it was like the whole like from grandmother to the smallest
You would end up seeing the mother's titties. That's how fucking crazy they were. The mother would come out one day with her fucking top off. They were always insane. Crazy families. There's one, I was friends with them. I go over their house. Place was always filthy. They open up the fucking freezer and said, look at this. I look up there. One of the kids in the family had put their mouth on a cold tray in the freezer and then panicked and pulled it off, left piece of the tongue and lips on the freezer tray. No one in the family scrapes it off. They fucking leave it that way as a interesting conversation piece.
Finally, some art in their house.
I can tell you the names of every one of these families. Here's the weird thing. Every one of them would always have a very hot, early mature daughter. One of the daughters would have tits when no one else did. Great ass. I don't know why that was. But enough psycho brothers that would panic everybody.
And you were always like, oh man, I wish I could get her, but I have to deal with that whole crazy family.
Oh, I know.
It was always a package deal. They always traveled in packs.
Oh yeah, of course they did. Filthy bastards. Dirty as hell. Dad never worked.
Always drunk all the time.
Yeah. First people in the neighborhood to get high. Paul, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, hey. Did you ever, if you wore a coat like after like 50 degrees or a jacket to school, did you guys get your ass kicked like I did?
You know, there was always a thing of if you had if your mom tried to buy you one of those coats with like fur around it, you were fucking, called women's names and shit like that, and they tried to rip the fur off. You never wanted any fur. inside or outside.
Yeah, you don't want a coat that's going to be too brightly colored. You just want something.
Pea coat. We used to go with a nice pea coat so you could look like a dock worker. You had to look like everybody's dad working down on the fucking Delaware River.
That's perfect. A nice navy blue neutral color.
I remember as a kid we had, what was those things, snorkels? Snorkel coats? But they were like this bright green with this bad fur at the end of it. And you just never heard the end of it. It was cold as balls and it was a perfectly warm coat. Didn't matter. The thing looked awful.
So awful what you put through as a kid. I mean, the great thing about being an adult is not knowing other people. Just not knowing them, not having anything to do with them. Because in your neighborhood, you would know everybody. Everything was like a problem. You were living like Paris Hilton, where anything you did could become scandalous. You didn't know. Here is Taylor. Taylor, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, the worst thing growing up was if you're the smart kid in school, because everybody targeted you.
Fucking hated smart kids.
I always got run all over the fucking school until I got big enough that nobody bothered me anymore, man. It was a nightmare.
Here's the thing. I could understand smart girls and they didn't bother me. Smart boys made me furious. I just didn't understand why they would try to fuck things up for everybody.
No, there was like that line, though. You could be smart. Just don't be...
Too smart, yeah.
Yeah, don't be too smart. Don't be too outward with it.
We're talking about the elite. The real elite. That top 3 or 4 in every class. And it would be the boy that would just fucking bug you. That the teacher loved him. It seemed like he was the way they saw children, the way children should be. You knew in a million years you ain't going to be able to get it. You might as well wait till he's drinking out of the water fountain, push him hard into it. Something to make you feel better about yourself.
The revenge always came in gym.
Gym was bad for those kids. Even as much as they tried to fake it, you tried to make sure that they were playing that day.
We had the kid that he once made the mistake in a math class of trying to quiet the rest of the class down for the teacher so he could hear the teacher better. And it was just hell on earth for that kid since then.
Dodgeball was that was Thunderdome. That was just Thunderdome when we played dodgeball. They were like, okay, where's the smart kid? And you weren't supposed to hit above the head. First place, square in the face, right up the side of the head.
They're trying to get rid of dodgeball now, and the association behind it is smart kids' parents, the SKPs, because they know their kids are playing a whole different set of rules. Hey, here's Josh. Josh, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, I microwaved a cat when I was 13. I kind of feel bad about that still.
You actually stuck a cat in a microwave?
Yeah, for about 10 seconds.
What happened?
It started twitching its head a little bit and looked at me.
It didn't die?
A couple days later it did.
Oh, jeez. See, I never had that thing. I never could find myself murdering a cat. We all know cat killers. Scariest kids out there. We'll take a break. Right back, Ron and Fez.
Ron Bennington, Fez Wadley, The Ron and Fez Show. XM 202.
Ron and Fez Show. Friday. Big weekend ahead of you, Fez?
I think I'll probably go check out the pirate movie, do some other stuff like that. I try to catch up on some of the summer movies I missed.
I don't see me seeing the pirate movie. I've heard enough from friends of I couldn't believe what dog shit it was to not go along with anything else.
Or it's either that or Me, You, and Dupree, which opens this weekend. Next Wednesday, you can come and hang out with us and the gang from RonFez.net. We're going to be at the Blue Room. That's Wednesday, July 19th, starting at 8 o'clock. The Blue Room is on 2nd Avenue in Manhattan, right there at 60th Street.
Eastside Dave swears that he's not going to drink that night, so anyone who buys him a shot, first person to get him to drink a shot will find themselves in a big-ass prize closet.
I have the feeling that prize is going to be won fairly quickly. The outlook for Barbaro, pretty grim. Doctors say he could be euthanized as early as today. Another infection for Barbaro the racehorse who broke his leg at the Preakness.
What are they going to end up doing with the body?
I don't know what they'll do with that. I'm sure it'll have some sort of place of honor.
In the dump?
No, they don't. They won't throw him away, will they?
What are they going to do?
I figured they would actually bury him somewhere, like the farm where he trained or something like that.
Why not get a mausoleum for him, Fez, and make him really feel like he's got an afterlife?
I know he's pretty big, but
You think there's dogs in heaven, Earl?
No, I don't think there's dogs in heaven.
So you're not ever going to get your dog back?
No. You will not get your
When you look in their eyes, when you have a puppy and you have a dog that has followed you everywhere, and you look in their face, you don't think that dog has a soul like you do?
Yes, they have a soul. I mean, I just can't put into my mind.
If they have a soul, where do they go?
I mean, my limited imagination doesn't just see, like, you get up there and, Fido's licking you in the face to greet you when you get there.
So you're saying it has a soul, but it doesn't go to heaven?
I don't know, maybe there's a doggy heaven or an animal heaven or something like that.
And no humans?
And no humans.
That's got to be heaven.
I think that's that place where dogs go and play cards.
I don't think animals go to heaven. I don't think they have souls.
You never had a dog that you loved and you'd like to see in the next life?
I guess I would, but I'm not expecting to, that's for sure. It's not going to be there.
And if not, you should have to face every cow that you ate here on Earth. Every pig, chicken.
I can imagine the lineup of barnyard animals I would have to face.
I'd see everything but a rhino. There would be no rhino.
Have you ever crossed a picket line, Ronnie?
Where'd that come from?
I was just thinking about it.
Would I or have I? No, I've never crossed the picket line.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Because my brother was talking about coming back up for a visit.
Yeah.
And I was remembering the last time he was here, he wanted to take his wife and daughter to see the Rockettes, the Christmas show, the Christmas Spectacular. And I wouldn't take him because at that point the Rockettes had the picket line. They were demonstrating out in front of Radio City Music Hall. And I said, I can't buy tickets for this. I'm not going to cross that picket line.
How did you vote Republican so many years in your life where you don't hold any of the same beliefs as them? Not one. Have you ever noticed that about him, Earl?
Yeah, I mean, as far as...
His favorite president of all time was a strikebreaker, Reagan. Loves Reagan, the fucking union guy who turned on the unions. Now, I would say this, Fez. I would cross a picket line if I didn't believe what they were doing. Like, if I wanted to see Last Temptation of Christ and there was a bunch of people saying don't see this movie or Dogma or whatever, I'd have to say, hey, you have your rights to free, expression. I have my rights to see this film by this filmmaker, and I'd keep on going. I don't think of any situation where I have or would cross a line that had workers on it. And sometimes we have stuff here like the big rat they put up in New York. I would never cross that. But that's just my own beliefs.
Yeah, I've walked by places with the giant rat. And I'll tell you what, that giant inflatable rat, that looks more impressive than a picket line outside.
I have the tendency to be more on the side of the guys than I do the major international corporations. If there's one thing that I don't relate to at all, is the major international corporation people. So I would pretty much always be on the side of the regular guys.
Yeah, I remember there was a big protest in front of the Garden, and they had the giant rat there.
Mm-hmm.
And the abuse that they put on the person that crossed the picket line, because it was all cops and firemen.
Right.
And the heads of the unions were there, and he had the big bullhorn. Look at that guy. He is crossing our picket. I mean, just
now, what was it for? Do you know?
That was when they were chasing the mayor around because they wouldn't negotiate a new police contract.
Right, but I mean, would you be like having tickets to a ball game and then they're there?
It was basically, it was the scab security guys that were there because they basically hired their own private security firm.
What I'm trying to say is this. It's a rough situation if you just bought, tickets for $100 for you and your kid. You show up and they say don't come in. You gotta be like, I don't know. Fellas, look at this. Is somebody buying these tickets from me? Doesn't seem like it's fair. But, like, if you show up somewhere and you haven't made a purchase, I could see going, no, I'm not going to do it.
Earl, if, like, during the transit strike last year, if they brought in scab people to run the subways and stuff, would you have broken that line just to get to work?
No, I wouldn't have crossed the picket line.
I'll speak for myself, too. I don't cross that line. I never would fuck with that, you know. I honestly think that that's like working man, and that's, you know, wrong. I know not everybody agrees with me. You know, I don't think it's a sin or anything. I think it's more of a political thing. Where are you at it? On it, Fez?
No, I wouldn't have crossed that line either, but I think I had the feeling there were so many people mad at the transit union in the city that I think, yeah, a lot of people would have done that.
Why do you think they were mad?
That it was an illegal strike, and that they were mad because they couldn't get to work.
What do you mean illegal strike? That's what frustrated me. The government and the fucking newspapers lined up with this together. They claim it's an illegal strike because they fucking control the government. It always kills me when that terminology is used.
That term drove me crazy because the Taylor law itself is flawed.
Right,
exactly. The law itself is flawed. It's basically designed not to have government workers.
But then the Post picked up that fucking headline, and of course, you know, the local news, TV news. But you didn't fucking hear that from any of the people who actually worked there, that it was a legal strike. And I'm sure you didn't look into it, Fez.
No, I didn't.
But you let them carry that fucking banner is what drives me crazy.
Yeah, everyone. The mayor, the governor, every word out of their mouth pertaining to the strike, the first words was illegal. This illegal action, this illegal thing. And no one questioned the law that they were actually breaking.
Right.
Which is designed to screw the unions.
The fucking newspapers were absolutely on the side of
management.
Yeah, it was unbelievable how that happens almost 100% of the time now. I mean, we live in a country with really no real unions anymore, you know. That's why most people are like, fuck it. Unions are just filled with, you know, Spanish people. But I have a tendency, before I'm on the side of a large corporation, to line up with the people who actually work for a living.
Do the Teamsters still have a lot of pull in this country?
There's some, but not like they had before. I mean, it was a major, major union. You know, the auto workers, major, major union. Most of the time, it doesn't really exist anymore. Hey, Trevor, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, boys, what's up?
Yeah.
Hey, I miss Scab Fez.
Scab Fez is here. Always ready. What can we do for you, buddy?
I was a first-year apprentice working in Northern Ontario, and we crossed the picket line there. They were on strike for 7 years. And the main point, the only reason I crossed is because the guys that were working at the mine also were, working the picket line, also took the jobs of, like, the regular townsfolk. So they were basically doing my job.
So you didn't see them as a legitimate union at the time?
Well, no, because they were taking their union pay to stand on the picket line, but then they would also, you know, work.
We're losing you, buddy. No, I mean, I agree with you that not every union has always been a good union. I'm just saying, rule of thumb, I don't cross picket lines. Again, when you say picket line, though, if I go off to some place and someone's saying, I don't want people to see this performance or this band or whatever, and I would normally stop and talk to the people, since I felt like they were making a political statement and they deserved that time, I would, at least for me, if I had the time, I would give it to them and explain why I thought that they were dog shit. Here's Frank. Frank, you're on Ron and Fez.
How you doing? I wanted to thank you guys for supporting the unions today. You know, we fight it every day, non-union, and it's tough. It's nice to hear somebody out there saying, backing us up a little bit.
All right, thank you very much. My thing is this, anything that's ever happened for workers' rights, if you got any kind of compensation, you can go back and thank the early union stuff. If you've got health care at your place, if there's any kind of benefits set up for your own safety, it's because some guys had to fight for it. The early corporations never set that up for guys from the beginning.
I also always appreciate someone who's going to go do a job that I can't do or couldn't do whatsoever. I'm not going to go in those subway tunnels.
Here's Ron. Ron, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Ron and Fez, how you doing? Hey, I think today's union is obsolete.
I mean, yeah, you're right about the history of the unions where it helped us out, but a lot of the companies today are already offering these benefits, and you wind up paying these union dues for nothing. And then earlier you were talking about how it's the working man. You ever drive by a construction site and see one guy working and 15 guys standing around? Today's union is lazy.
Well, you know, I mean, you're going to hear that there, but I fucking work with salespeople. I work with corporate people that I don't see busting their ass from dot to dot either. There is a thing of blaming it on that. And again, do you compare working a construction site, which is a dangerous fucking place, with a guy wearing a shirt and tie and going somewhere else? And that guy wearing a shirt and tie, I guarantee you, is making more money than these lazy people that you happen to be talking about, who are risking their lives driving major trucks out on the highway that are filled with explosives. There's a lot of guys out there that when they go to work, I mean, these aren't firemen or cop, regular guys working construction that are really risking their lives at work. Their safety anyway.
Yeah, I think of like miners. I think of think of garbage men. What they have to do, they deal with filth all day. They deal with waste all day from the moment they get up till the end of the day.
And there's also a lot of garbage men who die getting hit by cars. It's a very, very dangerous job. Those guys should be taken care of. Everybody, you know, these companies should set up health care. And I'll tell you something else. I don't want to bring up this company, but here's what I hate about the large fucking corporations. They'll hit you with that shit like, hey, we're all a big family. Hey, Ron and Fez, I want you to know you're part of our family. I want you to feel like this is home. A company that we used to just work for ran into a little bit of a problem, and boy, did they go letting go 100 members of their family that had been there for 19, 20 years and just got rid of them all in one fell swoop for no fucking reason but to work on the profits for that quarter. So you can't act like, hey, the company's always there for you. They're just not going to do it.
Yeah, if that was a real family, you're actually just putting out aunts and uncles and grandmothers and grandfathers and stuff into the street. Get out of the house.
And I mean, Earl, you've seen many times I know you were involved in a union before. The companies never take care of the guys at the bottom. It's just something that they don't do.
It's a day-to-day battle that has to go on. And then the part that always kills me is like, hey, you're part of the family, you're this and that. And then when you ask for something, they look at you like you've asked for the moon.
Like you've stole.
Like you stole. Like we're stealing. I've been in union meetings where our representative would go, he would be just screaming. He would go, guys, we're not trying to break the bank. We're just talking about a livable wage in New York City. It's like we're just talking about eating. So we've had guys who had houses now, they're in one-bedroom apartments. It's like you keep telling us we're the best, we're this and that. You have to pay us to be in this market.
It's rough sometimes, man. And I go back to that. If I'm going up to a store and I hear from the fucking guys that work there, this place is a piece of shit, don't come in, I'm not fucking going to go in until they take care of those guys. I got other places I can go. I don't need that kind of garbage in my life. I don't need that karma laid on me. But I also don't have the time to sit there and go over it. But who do I identify with more? That brand? That brand is fucking people. People built that fucking company.
Yeah, I always look like during the transit strike, as inconvenient as it was, I understood those guys. The guys who work in the tunnels, I have no idea what gets them motivated in the morning.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you're dealing with filth, you're dealing with dust, you're dealing with sewage, you're dealing with trains, you're dealing...
Mole people.
There's people living underground, and God knows what they leave behind. And it's like, give them the money. They earned it.
Not only now, those same people are checking for your safety all the time. Your safety with the trains, your safety against terrorists. I mean, there's a give and take in the world. Some of these people, they deserve your respect. Hey, Russell, you're on Ron and Fez.
How you doing, Ron and Fez? 14486.
Hey, buddy.
Hoo-ah! My family's run a shop in the Yonkers area, a Teamster shop for about 30 years.
Yeah.
And Teamsters lost a lot of pull because the government stepped in because of all the shadiness. And now the government pretty much runs a lot of the stuff, so the Teamsters lost a lot of pull.
Right. But it's not like there's never been shadiness with the government or shadiness with these large corporations. And I don't doubt that some of the stuff that got caught up with the Teamsters years ago shouldn't have happened. But again, Is that going back to take care of the regular guy? No. I don't doubt that some of those things did happen and should have been taken care of. But at the same time, when the government does something wrong, the people shouldn't be, that position shouldn't be taken away. Suddenly now we don't have a representative. You need people out there to fight for you. Fez and I have an agent that works a deal for us, who signs gets a contract together for us. In a lot of ways, it's Fez and I pulling together to say this is, the way we would work with representation. It's the same deal. It's the same way I say it.
It's a two-man union.
No. Right now, Fez is a shop steward, and I need him to take care of a couple things.
There will be a meeting later.
Well, here's all I'm saying. I want more. I want more and better. Take that upstairs.
I'll take that to the union rep.
I want you to get me more, and then I want that more to be better than before. That's all I want. More and better. It's not so much to ask for.
It seems really simple when you break it down like that.
And in the end, it's always, no matter what the union is, they're still overmatched. You know what I mean? Like, if you go up
if
you go up against a corporation, they got endless vats of money.
No, the only thing that you can do is shut the fucker down. Yeah. And now what have they done? They've taken the jobs out of this country, and people blame that on the union. Because of the union, we don't make clothes in this country anymore. We used to make clothes. Oh, what are they paying those fucking people over in Korea or wherever they're at? $1 a day. Which goes to show they don't give a fuck about people. They only care about profits. If they could get away with paying $1 a day in Lansing, Michigan, they would do it. They don't fucking get away with it because the people rose up. And someday the people overseas will as well. Someday the workers of the world will unite, and they're going to unite against us, folks. That's where it's going to fucking come at. We're going to look around, and the rest of the world's going, you fuckers have taken advantage. Look what you, because we don't know where our sneakers are made or what those people went through. We're just buying a pair of sneakers. We don't know about jeans. All the things that you're wearing, that you own, have fucking horror stories attached to them. And I kid you not when I say that, horror stories. And one day, that fucking bill's going to come up.
It makes you wonder just how much of what you're wearing now is made by some little kid who should, like a 4-year-old or something.
Their tiny little fingers are able to put the buttons in. That's perfect.
Preschoolers made these shoes.
That zipper yours comes from an infant's teeth. And they're going to go to us. How could you put up with this? And we're like, hey, we didn't know, man. We didn't know. Jeez. We were watching TV. We really like sneakers. We didn't say that to you. We love sneakers. But somewhere along the lines, it goes to show you those big corporations, they don't have any feelings. I mean, and nor should they. Because the corporation doesn't even belong to the people running it today. That thing is just, consider it like a great white shark that's just swimming, eating, moving. Somebody's running it today, but that doesn't mean they will be at any given time in the future. So you are not beholding to people when you're a corporation. You're beholding to the corporation itself.
And there's only so many places left to move. I mean, you can't do it in the United States. You can't do it in any sort of European country, get away with slave wages. You're running out of countries and people that'll do it.
Well, they do it because of the same reason people in this country used to do it, because they were starving. That, $1 a day, if it's going to your kids, whatever, you're going to take it. But you don't want to live that way forever.
You don't think there'll be a new labor movement in this country now that there's so many working
There's not any fucking labor in this country. We are a country of fucking marketing people. We talked about this earlier today. People are working marketing. We don't make our own shit. We're not self-sufficient anymore. Nobody. My whole block, the fathers worked in factories. My whole block, everybody's dad made something. I dare you to go out and find people who say, here's an actual product that I make. Normally they're marketing, they're promoting, involved in all that kind of shit. At some point, when these other people don't make these goods and services anymore because they're striking, what are we going to do? We're going to sit here with our fucking dicks in our hands, staring around going, how are we supposed to get things? Where's our things at? And we'll have to fucking deal.
I always remember the movie Why We Fight. and that scene where they had people, it's like, well, I make the warheads. They had industrial plants. Those are the only people I can remember from that movie that actually made something. And they're like, hey, we assemble the warheads for like the AX missile or something like that.
I had a lot of friends whose parents worked for Boeing and were making, fucking helicopters to shoot people out of the sky. No one thought about it. There's all kinds of defense jobs in this country at one time. And some of them, there's still probably, out of real industry, probably the defense industry is the strongest because the military is using the money, our money, of course, to get involved in it.
That's the big contracts, the big bucks.
Yeah.
That always has a place.
It sure does, Fezzy. It sure does. All right, that is it for us. We're going to be hanging out with you next Wednesday night over at the Blue Room because our little friend Too Cute is going to be mixing us drinks. First person who gets Dave to do a shot will find themselves in the big-ass prize closet. You claim you're not going to do a shot this week.
That will not happen. They will be waiting for their prizes for a very long time.
Because you don't drink during the week.
Sundays through Thursdays, I'm off. And then Fridays and Saturdays, it's Nicolas Cage and Leaving Las Vegas.
Then the eagle has to fly.
Yeah. I gotta lay off steam somehow.
Fez, you need to plug anything for this weekend? Anything you're doing?
I just want to let everyone know that party is going to be at the Blue Room on 2nd Avenue at 60th Street, all starting at 8 o'clock.
All right, everybody. We'll see you Monday. We'll be on after O&A. Take care of yourselves. See ya.
That's the end of my show. Donk.
Ronnie. Fezzy. The Ron and Fez Show. XM 202.